Listen up, I gotta tell you, there is something you should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better. Don't even know where to begin. If I allow myself to dream, will it be as good as it seems? Pull me out of this place in the middle, in the middle. Nothing more to embrace in the middle, in the middle. If I try to climb up the wall, everyone can see when I fall. Take me up into the mountains, send me up into the wild. Misery is still a path I would choose if the alternatives are worse. I guess it's time to find a friend, one who will stick by to the end. Going out of my mind in the middle, in the middle. Wasting all of my time in the middle, in the middle. I take the vibe and spit it out, unaware of what it's about. I'm not that good at faking it. I feel somehow I've broken it. I don't believe I'm part of it. In the If I try to climb up the wall, everyone can see when I fall. Nothing really matters at all. Pull me out of this place in the middle, in the middle. Nothing more to embrace in the middle, in the middle.
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey, y'all. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I was eating and I didn't want y'all to hear me eating. I don't know why I'm so small. It's good to see y'all. Thank you so very much for being here. Amy, Amanda's here, Skits is here, Annabelle's here, been a member for 7 months. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is a long time. Thank you so much. And says, love this channel. I love our speculating family. You guys are amazing. Jenny Jen, good to see you, my love. Snarky Pants, it's here. Good to see you. Crystal, JC, Edith, Jill, Boomer, Vero, Miss Scorpio Rising. Your pack girl, you know, I got a lot going on. I got to pack my husband up. He's got to go out of state. It's been crazy. Hopefully, I might have to leave abruptly today. Hopefully, I will not because I've got some important things going on myself. But I hope you're packing for a good reason. And you enjoy yourself wherever you're headed. Didn't you say, you might have said, somebody said they were moving. If that was you, again, congratulations. Vicky the Leo, Julie is here, and Pandora is here. Good to see y'all. Curious Christine, Cindy from sunny South Florida. I hope you feel better, sweetheart. That sucks. I'm sorry you got an upper respiratory infection and in the summer too. I'm so sorry. Tom, good to see you. It does show his extreme narcissism, but it was the nastiest shit I've ever seen in my life. I don't know why I expected decorum. You know, Southern Cats, good to see you. Bogart, good to see you. AM, good to see you. Hi. So glad you are here. No No's here. Good to see you. Orange Rose. Anita Blackstone is here. Okay. Michelle is here. Miss Scorpio Rising gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so very much for that. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. I think 2 people gifted, and I will work on getting that pulled up. I'm going to pull it up. Pull it up. Hold on. Work on getting that pulled up. Okay. Lord, I'd have had to hear myself say pull it up like 6 times. And I did not want to hear that. Oh, it won't go back that dang far. Well, thank you for that, Miss Scorpio Rising. If you were gifted from Miss Scorpio Rising, please tell Miss Scorpio Rising thank you because she is a rock star. And I will grab the crazy train and pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Thank you so very much for that. Abellis is here. Michelle Marshmallows is here. Good to see you. Good to see you. So glad y'all are here. Kim Beasy. Abraham is here. Good to see you, love. Petunia's here. Good to see you. That sidebar, I think there was something in that paperwork that pissed Judge Karsten off. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how he could have been any nicer to that piece of crap. I mean, like I said in the dang thing, like, Boo Crew. I don't know what the Boo Crew said, but thank you for being here if you are here. I was like I said that day, why don't you go ahead and go get him lunch at McDonald's while you're at it? Because my God, could we have handed him anything else? At least he got life without parole. I mean, it could have been life with parole. Hey, Little Red, good to see you. We have birthdays. My birthday song is it's Miss Scorpio, and also All I Need Is Jesus' Birthday. Okay, I will. Miss Sarah, good to see. Yeah, like a Happy Meal. A Happy Meal. Donna Gardner, good to see you. We're gonna grab a birthday song off of YouTube real quick because my birthday song it likes to strike me. I might have to pause it. Let's see what we can find on YouTube real quick. Hold on. Happy birthday to y'all. That's awesome. I hope y'all have an amazing day. Miss Scorpio Rising, and All I Need Is Jesus. Oh, okay. Well, here's one. Hold on. I know you can't see it. You got something? Hi, Abellis. Mallory Beavers, hi. It's your daughter's Parabola, good to see you. It's your daughter Abby's birthday too. Well, happy birthday to your daughter Abby as well. Becky P, good to see you. All right, let's do it. Okay, I'm going to play the birthday song real quick. Okay, this says.
They're making a puppet corn. They're making a puppet corn.
Hey, Marilyn. From the Swedish Chef, it says.
Oh, the puppet corn. Stick it in the microwave.
That one was cute. Cara just sent me one as well. We'll pull up real quick. Happy birthday to y'all. Hold on. Let's go to playlist. Oh, we got 10 videos on Stearns today. Okay, this is from us and Cara. This is the happy birthday song, Sloth Happy Birthday Rap. These are always funny.
She got birthday candles, blow them out. She got birthday candles, blow them out. Everybody at the party start to gather round. Puffin', puffin', blow them out. It's your birthday, let's get crazy. I'll take the day off, they're gonna fire me. I came up in the tail on the donkey, shaking to the with the scale. Jobs off party. She got birthday candles, blow them out. She got birthday candles, blow them out. Everybody at the party start to gather round. Puffin', puffin', blow them out.
That was cute. Those are always so funny. Okay. Happy birthday, y'all. Hold on. All right, we're not going to play it again. Mr. Sloth, calm down. All right, I've got that pulled up. Let me write my timestamp down. Happy birthday to y'all. I hope y'all have an amazing day. Thank you so much, Cara. I really appreciate that. You're always coming in with the birthday songs. Oh, you're welcome. Happy birthday. It is a sloth, a slot. My nieces and nephews love this video. I have one that screams their name too. That's so cool. I think you can go to that website or that channel and it'll you can get ones that'll say your name. Lisa Lynn, good to see you. Sue Joy, good to see you. All right. We will get to Stephen Stearns. I've got a couple videos. Actually, there's a bunch of Court TV videos as well. Maybe we can start with this one, worst of the worst reactions to Stearns' plea. And then there's this one, why wasn't Jennifer Soto at Stephen Stearns' sentencing? Those are both 45-minute videos. And we will watch them as much as we can. and see, and then we'll talk about some emails after that. We're going to skip to right here. I'm going to watch this with y'all and we're going to see what they have to say. Anders, good to see you. The guy who runs that channel is really amazing. He'll make a new one if your name isn't on there. That's awesome. I need to drop his link. Indy, good to see you. My nephew has a very unique name and he didn't have one. He will make a new video with their name for like 15 or 20 bucks. That's awesome. Yeah, Tom, how are you doing back at work? All right. I think this is Vinnie Politan Live without Vinnie Politan, maybe. Closing arguments. Sorry. No, it's closing arguments.
Welcome to Closing Arguments. I'm Ted Rollins filling in for
Hey,
Vinnie
Smokey.
Politan. Tonight we're going to begin the hour in Florida where Stephen Stearns, the man who molested and then murdered a 13-year-old girl, will be spending the rest of his life in prison. Madeline Soto celebrated her 13th birthday with friends and family, and then the next day she was gone. According to prosecutors, her mother's boyfriend, who had been molesting her since she was 8 years old, killed her and dumped her body. And today, Stephen Stearns entered guilty pleas on the sex crimes, but a no contest for Madeline's murder, meaning
he's not saying he did it and he's not saying that he didn't. George, good to see you. I mean, not only was she not there, but she couldn't even be bothered to write a victim impact statement for Mr. I think y'all said his name is Mr. J to read out loud. Like you can't even be bothered to take 10 minutes probably at most to write a victim impact statement and have somebody else read it for you. I mean, if you thought the public was bad before, it's going to be even worse now, Jennifer Soto. I hope you're good at blending in and wearing them big old hats and sunglasses you apparently like so much, ma'am.
he accepts the conviction, but he doesn't admit guilt. In the courtroom, the judge heard statements from victims, family members who have suffered since Madeline's life was taken, including Madeline's father, Tyler Wallace. You're going to hear what he had to say in just a bit.
Look at that picture.
But a big question people were having in the courtroom is, where
Aw.
was Jen, Madeline Soto's mother? She was noticeably absent from today's proceedings. CourtTV field reporter Cody Thomas was there. He was on the ground. He's on the ground in Florida. He was in the courtroom. Let's start, Cody, with those victim impact statements.
Yeah, Ted, those statements were incredibly emotional. Tears were flowing through the gallery. Tears were flowing from the people giving the statements. The gallery was filled with family, friends, loved ones, and even people down here in the Kissimmee community. Just very sad, just very somber as some of those statements were given. And Ted, you just mentioned no Jen Soto, no statement even read on behalf of Madeline's own biological mother.
And that's what I was just saying. Holly O is frustrated and said, God darn, it was her mother's ex-boyfriend. Nobody seems to get that fact straight. And you are correct. It was the ex-boyfriend of her mother. That is correct. But he had just come back, and that, he came back for Maddie's birthday, even though she seemed to resent him. And then that's when everything happened. But technically, from what everybody told the police anyway, yes, you are correct. He was the ex-boyfriend. And I apologize because it seems like they were together. So I do often forget to say that. I know you probably mean the news and things, but you are correct in that. Shaker Maker, good to see you. Remember, though, he was found guilty. He had the audacity to enter a no contest plea, but the judge told him he finds him guilty of premeditated murder. And thank you for pointing that out as well. Aren't they supposed to say, well, now Jen didn't make it to court because of whatever? I'm hoping they do. I love how they were still calling him her boyfriend because it seems like she still loves him when they say it like that. I know, and I think that's why I do it, because I thought those that gave impact statements were very classy about it. It showed good restraint, great restraint. I would have been screaming obscenities. I agree. Lastly, again, have his parents made any comments since the plea hearing? I don't know. Not that I'm aware of. In my opinion, they will say he pled no contest to the first degree to protect Jen and will continue to believe he didn't do it. Oh, yeah. Even in his little victim impact statement, it seemed like he was saying he didn't do it. I loved her. I hope she's going to be part of the choir. She was a joy. Like, I really wanted to smack the shit out of him when he said she was a joy. I bet she was a joy to you in your life and all your sick, devious fucking pleasures, you fucking bastard. Excuse me. I apologize. Let me calm it down. Cindy said it was her on and off again boyfriend by both of them. And thank you for that. Yep. On off again ex. I think they said a number of different things to cover up for what was really going on in that house, allegedly speculating.
Did hear a written statement from Madeline's grandmother, Madeline's aunt, roommates who lived with Madeline and Jen at the time of Madeline's death. Let's take a listen to some of those impact statements right here, right now.
Real quick, baby boomer, I'm so sorry. I am so very sorry. I hope that she is up in heaven, rested in peace. I'm so sorry. If you ever need to email me, you can. I'm so sorry. Darla, good to see you. He would never protect Jen Soto. What would be the point? That's true. I don't know if he did it to protect Jen Soto. I think he's saying that more so that Maddie did it to herself. I don't mean to keep pausing y'all. Got a lot of great comments. I'm going to read 3. Jay said, I learned something, another why they take the no contest plea. Apparently, if you don't admit guilt to their family, if you don't admit guilt, their families can't sue you as a civil case. I didn't know that because I was pretty sure Tyler was going to bring a civil case against him. He still might, though, for the CSAM because he did admit guilt to that. It just seems like to make it a little more normal if it's her boyfriend for all those years, but considering it's her ex-boyfriend and he hadn't been there in a few months. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Indy said, what pisses me off the most is he goes to prison. It's majorly protected by tax dollars and gets to read his books and eat his candies while Maddie had a horrible life and died. Makes me sick. I was watching a YouTube channel that said, do victims ever really get justice? Like, will we ever really feel like the victims got justice? Let's say he was put to death. I would feel better about that, but it's not going to bring Maddie back. So I don't know. Maybe we can do a poll. Rhonda R., good to see you. I can only imagine what his parents would say again. It was her time to go. Yeah. They would be something disgusting. All right, I'm going to play this. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep pausing.
Having a full night's sleep became a luxury I could not afford. I was too anxious to sleep, constantly wanting to wake up from a nightmare. It wasn't until I started wishing death on him that I realized I needed help.
Every day I feel like life is not worth living anymore because such a heinous evil exists in this world. There is not a day that goes by where I do not think about all the pain and suffering that Maddie endured. This monster took advantage of her trust and her innocence.
Now, Ted, Madeline's biological mother, Jen Soto, was not there, but her biological father, his name is Tyler Wallace. He was there. He gave an emotional impact statement saying as the days go on, as time goes on, his life feels like it only gets worse rather than the other way around. Of course, we hear time heals all, but he said for him, it's the exact opposite. Take a listen to what he had to say to the court.
The last time I saw her was in October of 2023, and she had come to visit for a few days. And when I took her back to the airport, I said, you're turning 13 soon. When you turn 13, you have a choice of which guardian you're interested in staying with. Would you like to stay with me and talk to me? And she said, yes, that she would. And so I was this close to having my little girl, sir. Because of the actions of this depraved man, I will never meet the woman she was becoming.
Abellis, oh my goodness. Thank you for gifting it 20 memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so very much. I am not going to read out all those names, but if you guys were gifted from Abellis, please tell Abellis thank you if you are aware you were gifted. Abellis, that was so very sweet. Thank you so very much. You are so amazing and so supportive. I will grab the Polar Express to pick y'all up. Thank you, Abellis. You gifted like 20 yesterday too. Thank you again. You're so very supportive and sweet. I cannot thank you enough, and I love you so very much. Thank you, Abellis. Thank you again, Abellis. Little Red had said right above that that they don't ever truly get. Oh lordy, I didn't scroll way up. Little Red said they don't ever truly. No, they don't get justice. I agree. I did do a poll. If y'all don't mind, hit the thumbs up. Crystal Burns said, I think Stephen will get what's coming to him in prison. I would almost guarantee the other inmates are going to know what he's in there for. I've been to jail, so I know what it's like. He'll get, I don't see the other part. I've been too, and I think he's going to be in protective custody. I think it'd be very hard to carry out the true prison justice that everybody has a lot of faith in. The only way he'll hear the details is if there is a civil case. I hope so. Like, how did Maddie die? Get out of the house. I'm wondering that. I'm trying to get the information too. Hey, Yvonne, good to see you. Court TV said that the inmates are allowed to watch Court TV coverage in prison, guaranteed. It was viewed in Florida prisons. Capital K Productions, good to see you. They did get Dahmer. I don't know that he was in protective custody. I don't know if they had that. Margaret, hi, good to see you. I don't know. I mean, I would think maybe if a trustee could carry it out, but
You're depraved. You're weak. You're a coward. You're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak.
So, Ted, you heard those statements there from Madeline's father, other family members, other loved ones on behalf of Madeline. Just overarchingly a very sad, emotional day, but there's no doubt that Madeline Soto, that now deceased 13-year-old, was very loved within the people in her life and this community.
Yeah, you can hear the emotion over television. I can't imagine what it was like inside that courtroom. What, at the end of the day, what would the judge sentenced him? What was the ultimate sentence?
Well, Ted, of course, you know, the prosecution recused their intent to enforce the death penalty on both of those cases, the sex crimes case where he was charged with 60 counts of child porn, child sex crimes, and the murder case ultimately of Madeline Soto. But just because they took away that death penalty doesn't mean that he will ever see the light of day again. Take a listen to the judge's sentence.
The court has had an opportunity to hear the anguish and the fury of shattered families. Everyone in the gallery has had an opportunity to hear the anguish and the fury of community mourning and permanently diminished. Folks joining us around the state and the country remotely have heard the opportunity to hear the anguish and fury of a meaningful future that was stolen and a beautiful promise of Madeline Soto's life extinguished permanently. Stephen Stearns, you have had the opportunity to hear that anguish and fury from your actions. As to first-degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As to the capital sexual battery of Madeline Soto while she was under the age of 12, for each count, you are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the sexual battery of Madeline Soto between the ages of 12 and 18, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
if he got it for each count, there was a lot of counts and a lot of charges. Hey, everybody coming in. Lisa Lynn said, just put him in general population. There's his death penalty. And I agree. Callie said, I'm sorry, but my heart hurts for Maddie that Jen didn't show up for her child. I think a lot of people are there and very upset with her. Like, if she had at least written a victim impact statement, that might have made the public kind of lay off of her a little bit if it's because of public scrutiny that she didn't come. And a lot of people have said it makes her look more guilty. Like, she's got to be hiding something for if she can't even show up to court. And I mean, I question it, and I think a lot of people will.
The lewd and lascivious molestation of Madeline Soto
Really?
who are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. These sentences will run concurrently, meaning at the same time. The state of Florida has withdrawn their notice of intent to seek the penalty of death. These are the maximum sentences permitted to the court.
So you heard it there, Ted. The judge threw the book at him, life without parole across the board. And you heard him say there, all of those sentences will run concurrently. So Stephen Stearns will not be getting out ever for the rest of his natural life.
What about the defendant? This is the worst of the worst. What did he have to say for himself?
Well, Ted, he was oddly sentimental. He told the court that he still thinks about Madeline every day and he'll never stop missing her, and that her death tore his family apart. It was all very strange. Take a listen to how he addressed the court.
Yeah,
I agree that it's not fair that Madeline is not here anymore.
I'm about to get mad.
I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before. I've prayed to God countless times to trade places with her, to take me instead. And unfortunately, that's just not how he works.
Oh. You got to educate us all on how God works, Stephen Stearns. That's what you're doing.
I have nothing but sorrow for her loss,
Oh, bullshit.
and I miss her all the time. Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well. And she truly was a joy. I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her. And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. I will miss her all the time. I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
So Ted, very
I can't. I mean, Miriam said, yep, I can understand she doesn't want to be seen in public, but at least send a victim impact statement to be read there. Right. Lord have mercy. And his words, oh my God. Good to see you, Miriam. Somebody said they heard she does DoorDash and she was doing DoorDash yesterday. If somebody has got a picture or a camera of that woman delivering DoorDash while this is going on, oh my God, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, I mean, I get trying to occupy yourself with other things so you don't think about it, but to this extent, hell no. Hell no. Absolutely not. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if we could even validate it, but that's interesting. If it's true. Chloe Moon, thank you for being here. Jen showed up for Maddie yesterday, just like she did when she was alive. Not at all. Right? And that's the issue. I bet he misses her, and I bet she was his joy. Exactly. And that's the issue with what he said. It wasn't God who took her. It was you, you piece of shit. Exactly. I haven't had a response from you in several days. You're the sweetest person on. Oh, no. I'm sorry if I missed you. There's been a lot going on and a lot of people in chat. I'm sorry if I've missed some of your comments. I'll look for people that I might not have gotten in a while. So I'll click on their comments and stuff. And I'm sorry if I've missed you, Indy. Please don't feel like that. I try to skip around and get people at different times.
strange there, as he is now the man who was accused and now convicted of raping, abusing, and ultimately killing Madeline Soto. But again, never seeing the light of day again. He'll die behind those prison bars.
Yeah, he is something else. That is about as disgusting a statement as a person in his position can make, saying that he misses her. Wow, I wonder why she's gone. Cody Thomas, thank you, as always, for your reporting throughout the day. Let's bring in the tank. Criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III is with us. Criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland. They come in a pair. And Jennifer.
Andy, I didn't see what your question was. So let me know what your question was. I scrolled up, but there's so many comments that I probably missed it. Basil, oh my goodness. I really hope they can go after Jen now. Do we think they will, or was this it? I don't know. Basil, what are you doing, you silly? She said she couldn't see the chat. Oh, no. Yeah, sometimes in chat, like if I have to take something out, like it got me for the birthday song, so I had to take that out. And then if I'm playing music or if it tells me that there's a song played in a segment, then I have to take that part out of the video. And when I do that, it takes away live chat. I try really hard not to, but sometimes that's what it is. Miss King of anything, thank you for being here.
For Brandt, family attorney, law. Let's start with you, Jennifer. What do you take from that
I think
statement from this guy? I mean, if I'm a family member, I'm pulling my hair out listening to, it's just disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that he'll miss her, but look what he did to her. I mean, he abused her, he raped her, he ultimately killed her. Yeah, she was some part of his life, and he took advantage of her. And I believe he feels remorse, but he has to understand that, you know, he's a monster, and the family will never forgive him for what he did, and he'll have to live with that for the rest of his life. And I hope in prison he does think about it every day.
Okay. Indy said, do you think he pled no contest so he can testify against Jen later? I don't know. Maybe he could have talked to his attorneys about that if Jen is going to be held accountable later. But considering that he was found guilty regardless, that tells me that more than likely there's not going to be a trial for Jen because the state of Florida sees it as, okay, well, he was found guilty for the CSAM and guilty for the homicide. Therefore, that's the person who committed the homicide with Maddie, case closed. You know what I mean? They could bring charges later. I don't think it's possible. His dad probably isn't well. And I do, Rhonda said, I think his parents put him up to that. I definitely think his mother put him up to that and had him write those disgusting words.
But I don't think it'll change anything. I mean, just what you hear about what he did is just so disturbing. I don't think, I'm glad that he took the plea and that we didn't have to sit through a whole trial of this, but it doesn't really help the situation.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he's thinking about her. He's thinking about her every day. But he's not saying, he never said he was sorry. He's saying God somehow orchestrated this. Good golly. Darnell, what's your take on his no contest on the murder? He pled guilty to the child porn, but he wouldn't plead guilty to the murder. Why? What do you think's going on there?
Tyler could bring a civil suit against Jen, but Jen wasn't found guilty of anything. So I don't know, honestly. I mean, you know, you could, just like they say, you can indict a ham sandwich, you could sue a ham sandwich, but that doesn't mean that anything's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, again, like I've said before, in order to prove neglect or intent or anything like that, you would, one, have to prove that she knew what was going on, and therefore, when she sent Madeline up to bed with Stephen, she knew exactly what was going to happen to Madeline in that room, and proving that would be a big problem unless he is privy to that damn immunity interview that she did that I want so damn bad. Because that would, if she admits that she knew, then yeah, he could take that and try to sue her civilly. Whether the state would bring charges against her, even if she admitted something in that immunity interview now that the case is over, I don't know. I don't know if that would be technically legal, number one. And number two, the DA has to feel like he would get a conviction of guilt for Jen beyond a reasonable doubt, and I doubt he feels that way. All the Jens out there will continue what they are doing, knowing there will likely be no jail time for them. Nice. I mean, it's a sad state. It's a sad day, and day after. Roxanne said, "I don't there, so it's not going to reduce Steppenstern's sentence. Many times, law enforcement, if a person has lost a child like Jen Soto has, unless there's obvious criminal participation, law enforcement just says lost a kid, call it even." Yeah. He can probably sue her civil court for failing to protect her. Yeah, he's got to prove, though, that she knew. Tyler would have to prove that she knew what was happening to Maddie, unfortunately. I wonder if he sued Would his parents have to sell all his belonging to pay damages? Probably not. It's probably going to go based on the money he earns in jail or prison, which would be probably not a lot. Now, if he gets that trust fund, they could deduct from that, I think.
Yeah, this whole thing is confusing, and I'm just really outraged because one, I'm not sure he would have got a ticket to heaven, but if he was so concerned, he would have just go ahead and acquiesce to the death penalty. And so instead of being just a coward and trying to just stay alive, the reason why he wouldn't plead guilty to the murder, I think based on his sort of, I disagree with Jen a little bit that I don't think he showed any remorse.
I don't either. Indy, thank you so much for the super chat. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Jersey Joe, hello. That was so sweet. Thank you, Indy. And you're welcome anytime. Skits, thank you for saying hey to everybody, because now I know Jersey Joe is here because you said hey to them. Thank you for that. Orange said it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, and they seem too lazy to even prove it. Look how this was handled. The easiest case to get the death penalty, and they let him plead. Shaking my head. I agree. 100%. I agree. 2 statements from Jen Soto. Woody Allen comment and can't risk it text speaks volumes to me. It does. It does. There is a profound sadness today, Jersey. Madeline, good to see you. This made me so sick. The last line, yeah. She only received derivative immunity, which means as long as it wasn't talked about in the police interview, she can be charged. See, I don't know how it works after court. With him going to court, I honestly think the no contest was his mother's benefit. She can continue to delude herself that her golden boy didn't do it, and he continues to get his commissary topped up. Yep, sick family. I agree. Well, y'all got so many comments today. Really good ones, too. Hey, Bazard, I'm going to email you. I forgot. I'm sorry. When they told her to leave around the back of the police station after her interview, she said, I didn't expect the public to react this way. Well, they're going to be reacting all kinds of ways now that she didn't even show up. Cherish your loved ones today and always be aware of your little one's safety and care. Yes, thank you, Bazard. I will email you today. I've had so much going on in real life. It's insane. Amanda said they won't charge her. The state got a guilty plea and they're fine with that. Right. I think that's what it all boils down to, unfortunately.
He was still trying to be self-serving. And I think he has a narcissistic personality and wouldn't allow him to plead guilty to the murder. He's not getting out anyway. But we see these people in these spaces, they just want to win, or they want to have the last word, or they want to feel like, again, they got some type of door prize. So, that's probably why. But he's screwed up in the head. I wish the judge didn't have to have judicial temperament and could really say some choice words and not have to just read this thing so blasé, like it's business as usual. I'm sick of these cases. I think the judge needs to reach across the bench and give him a tongue lashing, and I would endorse that.
Yep. Yeah, I think everybody would. Al, the decision to enter into this agreement, we're seeing it play out in Idaho with the Kohlberger case. You've got the worst of the worst who says, I don't want the death penalty, so I'm going to plead guilty, and prosecutors are going along with it. Why? Because, people watching at home are like, if you're going to have the death penalty, guess what? He's the poster boy for that type of sentence. What are your thoughts on the state saying, okay, we'll spare your life if you plead guilty?
Okay. It's, unfortunately, sometimes we sacrifice principle for good business judgment. And in a case like this, any death penalty case goes on and on and on and on at great expense and everything across the board. And that's what they do. They're making a business decision. Smart to put it on the table, smart to put it out there, and smart to, rally and get somebody as despicable as this individual, who I will say, in my 40 years as an attorney, this is perhaps the worst statement a defendant could have ever made on behalf of himself in a matter where you have sexually abused a child and murdered that child. I mean, I have never seen a statement more absolutely disgusting ever.
I mean, and that speaks volumes. He has been an attorney for 40 years. I mean, I think we're all right to be outraged by that bullshit. Cara said on the radio coming into work today, they said they can still bring her up on charges for abuse and neglect. There's plenty of evidence for that there. I really hope that they do. I really hope that they do. I don't feel he got enough humiliation. That statement was it was. Hey, they let him take the plea for life without parole, knowing he would die in jail anyway. If they went to trial, Maddie's pictures and videos would have been seen by jury and family, and no one wanted that. And yeah, I think so. And it also saved the state money about the cost of the trial. I've stated many times, I get that that they didn't want to put that up there, but I still feel like somebody should have seen those images, only them, only the jury, nobody else, and made a decision on his life. And I will feel that way until the end of time. SD, good to see you. But no contest makes it extremely difficult to prove beyond a preponderance of evidence that a person is guilty. Damn. Yeah, he probably will go on suicide watch in the beginning in a turtle suit. He deserves worse.
And this is, you know, and the funny part about saying, I wish I could have put myself in her place, but I can't do that. Accept the death penalty and do it. Okay? Be a man, take the penalty and go. But that's not what we have here. He's a coward, obviously a coward, and he'll rot in prison and he will be severely punished in prison.
Yeah, what's his
good?
Jennifer, what is his life going to look like in prison?
I don't think it'll look too good because, you know, there's no good people in prison, but I mean, he's the worst of the worst. And abusing a child, you know, I don't think he's going to have an easy time of it in prison because I don't think other prisoners they'll look down upon him. So he is the lowest of the low and the most despicable, as was said. So I don't think he'll have an easy time of it, but, you know, he gets to go on with his life for whatever that is. And Madeline Soto doesn't. So
I think he's going to have it easy in prison because he'll be in protective custody. Yes. Unfortunately, Ozzy has died at the age of 76. Hold on. Black Sabbath frontman Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76. A statement from his family said, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time." He had been diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2019. That's about it. Oh my gosh. That is so sad. Well, this is for you, Ozzy. I'm so sorry. That's horrible. I'm sorry. That's so sad. Okay, back to Court TV.
I mean, at the end of the day, I agree with Darnell and Al. I mean, he should have just taken the death penalty and he could have, you know, paid for his crime. Instead, he, you know, wished he had changed places. Well, he couldn't change places with her, but, you know, he's not going to have a good life, but he is going to continue to live, and she's not. And that's the sad part about this.
Darnell, Mom, Jen, not there. Your thoughts?
The Court TV is in the prisons. A lot of my clients are fans, so I'm glad they've been updated on this case. And so the Welcome Committee should be waiting for him.
What do you think of Mom? Al?
There's not going to be any welcome committee. It aggravates me, right? Because even Jumpsuit Pablo, I don't have anything against him, but saying that he's going to be taken out in prison, I just don't see it. He's going to be in fucking protective custody. Like, everybody getting happy about him being in jail. I mean, he's going to be protected. He's going to be with every other child herder that there is there. It is. That's the way it is. I don't see it happening, even if there is a hit out on his head.
She doesn't show, and she's been a problem this whole time.
We are.
I mean, that to me says more than anything that she's not there for that she did not get the opportunity to speak on behalf of the young girl, the child she was supposed to be protecting. Shame on her. She's as despicable as he is, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
And to not have been there, to not have been in support of the rest of the family that was there, it's just deplorable. From the beginning of this case, I could not conceptually understand how she hasn't been charged with something on this. There has to be something in Florida. Of all states, there has to be something in Florida that they could throw at this wretched human being.
Jen might know the answer to this, but I think Child Protective Services should definitely have some restriction from her having any other kids or being around any other kids, at the very least.
How do you stop that?
For sure. I mean, she's guilty of abuse like him. I mean, she allowed this to go on her own child. And the fact that she wasn't there, I think, is very telling, because she could have stepped forward and said, she did everything she could, or said something, but not even to talk about her own daughter. It shows that she really is still loyal to him. And I think we've seen that even in her interviews and things like that. She was kind of giving him tips and things of that nature, and allowed this to go on in her very own home. And to say that she didn't know about it, well, that can't be true, because the way that this went on for such a long time with them living together and now her not showing up, I think it's just very telling of what she's all about. It's so sad that she wasn't there.
Yeah, her silence today spoke volumes in terms of all the thoughts that we had about, well, maybe she didn't know, maybe she was just so preoccupied. She would have been there today. She would have said something to him, and she just said something about her daughter, and she chose not to.
I like the way that they made sure to mention that she protected him more so than her daughter. It shows that she still has an alliance with him. I did look up about protective custody. I was under the impression that protective custody is the entire time that they are there. I did find this, but it doesn't really answer the question. It says, yes, if someone goes to prison for CSAM charges, they may be placed in protective custody. This is often done to ensure the safety of victims or witnesses as the inmate poses a risk to others. Protective custody can involve solitary confinement or other measures to help to prevent harm to the inmate or others. But it's not telling me how long. We'll look at this real quick. Refers to separation due to high profile cases. Okay. Living while conditions of protective custody vary and involve solitary confinement. It does not always, while protective custody involves separation, it does not always mean complete isolation. There are instances of limited social interactions, though they are controlled and supervised. See, that doesn't answer it either. Oh, prison hooch. I want to make some prison hooch. I don't know. Let me bring this back up so we can keep watching it.
We need a break. When we come back, Tank's going to stick around, and we're going to have more of those emotional impact statements.
Hey, Brooklyn Deb.
Mom wasn't there, but there was a lot of support. Plus, here's a preview of what's coming up next hour on Vinnie Politan Investigates. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, Lori Vallow Daybell has been convicted in 2 different states.
Okay, I don't need to know about Lori.
Only on CourtTV.
Stearns, how do you plead to first-degree premeditated murder in 24 CF 1293?
Yeah.
No contest.
It was an emotional
Me
day
too,
inside
Jay.
the courtroom in Florida for the friends and family of 13-year-old Madeline Soto when her abuser and killer entered his no contest plea for the murder and guilty pleas for the sexual abuse.
Oh,
Here
I'm
are some of the
sorry.
statements that were made on Madeline's behalf in the courtroom.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. I hope that today gets a little easier for you, Miss Kimmy. I hope that you I'm sorry, sweetheart. Consecutive, not concurrent. Right. Okay, hold on.
Today I stand before you with a broken soul. I am Madeline's grandmother, but to her, I was not grandma. Madeline always called me Mama. She decided that since she was little. And that's how I felt with her, like a second mother who loved her with all my heart. Sometimes it's hard for me to close my eyes because I still hear her laughter. It was free, sweet, and sincere laugh. A sound I will never forget as long as I live. But that laughter was silenced by a horrific act. The very man who betrayed her trust, her innocence, her body. And if that wasn't enough damage, he took her life. And with her, he killed a piece of our souls. Since then, life has never been the same. Our family is empty and broken. There are days when the pain is so great that I feel like I'm drowning. And every time I think of everything she could have been, everything that was stolen from her, it hurts even more. Because Maddie wasn't just a victim. She was a little girl with a beautiful future, with a unique light, with so much love to give and receive. Today I am here because Maddie can no longer speak, but I can as her grandmother. As someone who loved her with all that I am, I come to ask for justice for her memory, for everything she lived through and should never have lived through.
I ended up living under the...
I wanted to listen to that one real quick. Amanda, thank you so much for the super chat. Amanda said, how do you think her family is acting towards her? I don't know, because they seemed very standoffish when they were at the at her mother's work, doing the interview with the cops reporting Madeline missing. They were very standoffish, as Grish has pointed out several times. It does seem like there was a little bit of hostilities there. I don't know. I wonder that myself, Amanda, and that's a really good question. Abraham, I'm wondering the same thing. Why are we doing them concurrent? And does that mean he could be out in 25 years? Well, it's without parole, so maybe not. I don't know. That's confusing. No thinks that they're blaming her, and that's why she didn't go yesterday. I think if they supported her, then they probably would have wanted to read a statement on her behalf, but they didn't, and that's a good point. LJ Gumby, good to see you, sweetheart. No one mentioned Jen. That's right. How about the doctors that prescribed all those sleeping meds to Maddie that she almost overdosed on? I don't know, man. They say she needed the damn, I don't know what it was, Adderall for, it wasn't, it might have been Adderall, I'm not sure, but something to the effect of Adderall to help her focus. But then you got to give her something to sleep at night, which is the hydroxyzine or whatever. It's like a Benadryl. But like at that point, as a parent, I would say, okay, well, can we take her off the Adderall, or maybe, at least take her dose down so she could sleep at night? Like if I have her on a medication and then I got to have her on another medication because of a side effect of that medication, unless it's a life-saving medication, I'm not going to put her on it. But, I don't do pharmaceuticals anyway. Hey, Diamond Girl, you're not late. Stephen Stearns will never walk free. By admitting guilt, I think he gave up his right to appeal, except for the no contest. I could be wrong. I think he agreed not to appeal, but, Jamie, I agree. Concurrent sentences are usually for one victim and consecutive for multiple. Oh, that's a good point, Teresa. You're right. Or that could be a reason. Yeah, that's a good statement. That's possible. Aria, good to see you. Does it mean no parole after just for the 25 years? What about after? I think he can't ever walk out again. Catherine, good to see you. When Adderall is properly dosed, sleep isn't interrupted once you've adjusted. Thank you for that, Catherine. I appreciate all the knowledge y'all are dropping in here.
The same room with a man who took a life of a 13-year-old girl, and with that shattered an entire family. What is the point of having dreams, plans, and opportunities if there is no life? If there is so much evil in the world? How can I explain what I felt and how this has affected me, especially considering that this same man took nude photos of my body without my consent, violating my privacy? I felt invaded, outraged, degraded, anguished, and absolutely shattered.
I miss your laugh. I miss your smile. I miss your big, beautiful blue eyes. I miss doing the little things like picking you up from school, helping you with your homework, even though we both hated doing that. I just miss you and your presence. But that unfortunately was taken from us. I have so much hatred in my heart, specifically for the creature that's sitting in this room today. And no matter what happens or what justice could be brought, it kills me that it doesn't bring me back. I would give up my life if it meant having you here with us. Even though I was your aunt, you always felt much more like a little sister to me. Doing your hair for the father-daughter dances that my dad would take you to.
I think I heard when she said that, and I was wondering how Tyler felt about that statement. And I think she said it because she knew Tyler was going to be there. Abraham informed us that in Florida, life without the possibility of parole means forever. There's no going free after 25 years. Thank you for that. Indy said he received 2 life sentences plus 25 years for the essay of a 13 to 18-year-old. And that tells me he abused her the night that he went down there, I think. Yeah, these are hard to hear. She made everybody happy.
You pick out clothes from my closet, doing your makeup and making sure it was very light because your natural beauty was worth more than any makeup product money could buy. I just miss you every single day, and it's left a hole in my heart from the day you've been gone. Your innocence was taken from you, and since clearly that wasn't enough for a certain someone, so was your life. I'm so sorry we found out too late. But despite everything that was happening to you behind closed doors, you still remained one of the happiest human beings I've ever met. Someone who loved us deeply and made us all smile. Trying to find light in this horrible situation is very difficult, but one thing I am grateful for is that your last day on this earth was everything you wanted and more. You got the birthday you asked for. Your best friends were able to be with you. We cooked the food you specifically asked for. And overall, I have the memory of sitting outside by my pool looking at you and your friends and just thinking, I'm so glad she's having a great time. And look at how grown up she is. How she's blossoming into such an amazing young woman. I could go on forever, but I just want to leave this here by saying I love you so much. And I miss you endlessly. Everything I do from now on, any accomplishments, any decisions I make, anything that happens in my life, I'm going to do it for you and in your honor. I love you, Madeline Sofia Soto, and I hope you're resting peacefully now.
From the moment we found out that Maddie went missing, life has never been the same. Those first 48 hours we set out to look for her, we spread flowers, went knocking on door to door, going to every business down John Young Parkway from Kissimmee to Sand Lake, asking for the public's help. All while seeing my best friend and her family have emotional breakdowns.
That was the roommate, and what she said was really, brought tears to everyone's eyes as well, I believe. Hey, Philly Will, nice to see you, nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. It was very hard to hear the victim impact statements and not cry.
Of you, the deplorability of your actions, you're depraved, you're weak, you're a coward, you're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak.
Yep. I feel like he was rolling his eyes too. The whole
Torn my
time.
family apart. It's led to arguments about who can go where and who can get what and who can help who. But we're all on edge because it doesn't heal with time. This isn't like other deaths that I've experienced. This just gets worse. It just gets worse every time I rethink about it and the true horror of what this man visited upon him. And I can only hope that he lives a long time in prison and has those same horrors we visited upon him by his fellow inmates.
Tough day in the courtroom for all of those people that loved Madeline. Our think tank still with us, Al Warshdeeth, Darnell, Crossland, Jennifer.
I'm glad you said that. I felt like what he said was very deep too, and heartfelt. A lot of people have issues with Tyler, but I felt like, given the situation, it was deep and heartfelt, especially when you talk about, arguments about what if he has other children. I think he does, but I can't be positive about where they can go and where they can spend the night. Like, I couldn't imagine just even the aftermath, the fallout, as I titled this live stream, afterwards, Like, you find out something like that happened, I mean, you're gonna be on guard with every child in your life. I mean, and it's it's a lot to take in. It is. And yeah, I feel like he could not have possibly given a shit less.
Rant. Al, what do you think he was thinking while listening to all of these people talk about him and her?
Well, we saw what he was thinking because he gave a statement, and he gave a statement that shows what kind of a deplorable individual he actually is. And it irks me greatly that they allowed him to do a nolo contendere plea on this. That poor child didn't even get the satisfaction of him admitting in open court
Amanda,
that he murdered her. She didn't even get that satisfaction. And it's so troubling to me that they allowed that. And this man got to sit there and listen to these stories and listening to this heartfelt just angst that was going through on the death of this child. And of course he showed no emotion because he has no emotion. He's not human. And the sad part is thinking about if Jen was there, okay, what she would have said. And I think I know what she would have said. At least I don't have to worry about the Woody Allen conundrum anymore. Because that's what kind of a piece of garbage she is.
Oof.
Disgusting. This is just disgusting.
I'm glad he's saying that. I'm glad they're saying that on national TV.
One of the people that called him a creature, I like that. Darnell, what about the terms of this plea agreement?
So we're about to hear about the terms of the plea agreement. In Lord of Mercy, New York City Boomer said, and I believe Jen gave Tyler Maddie's ashes. From what I've heard, like rumor has it that she gave him half and she had half. But I don't know. I don't think anybody will know unless they're part of the family. He is a maggot. He absolutely is. Regardless of the fact that only God can judge, there are not any excuses. I agree. The no contest plea is infuriating and should have never been allowed. Or him speaking afterwards about how much he missed her. Like, please tell me exactly what it is about her that you fucking missed, you sick son of a bitch. Sorry. It was a jab. I think his statement was a jab at her family too. A jab at everybody. And I think that his mother helped him write it. That's just allegedly speculating. I agree so, Mrs. North. Good to see you. Jen would blame Maddie in some way if she was there. You think so? I mean, even when she talks about the Woody Allen comment, she started to say the stepdaughter, and then she says, I mean, the stepdad groomed the stepdaughter. It is still about him, and he made it about him. Even at the end, after all the victim statements, he made it about him again. And that's why everybody's so mad.
It's to plead no contest, which is a slap in the face to the family. And he doesn't have to he doesn't have to tell them. Sometimes these deals come with, okay, well, you're telling us exactly what you did in detail so that the family knows. That wasn't on the table. Are you surprised by that?
Yes, definitely. I'm surprised. More and more we find that again.
I could not imagine being there like you were, Lady K Talks. Again, God don't let me do things for certain reasons. If I'd have been there when he said that, I probably would have got arrested. That's why God said, no, ma'am, Jessica, you sit your ass down. You're not going to Florida. I'm telling you.
And these prosecutors are perhaps using what Al calls the business decision approach, which I think that when it comes to law, and crime and justice, this is anything but business.
No.
And it should never be business as usual. If he can't accept that he's going to make a straight plea and not a NOLO, and my practice, sometimes my client want to plead what they call an Alfred plea. And the judge says, no, unless you're going to plead straight guilty and admit to what you did, you're not going to be able to plead at all. You're going to have to go to trial. And so these prosecutors are going to have to stop doing these pleas when it comes to the worst of the worst like these. And if that would have happened, he would not have been able to allow that NOLO. And I'll just say lastly on this, while we can never blame anybody totally, I'm disappointed in the father. He gave, I think, a lackluster victim impact statement. And I think
I disagree. I think Tyler gave a good one, but a lot of people felt that way. Amanda said that maybe now he'll restart emails to you, LOL. You know, he can't email me because I won't reconnect with him or even try. But I did think about handwriting a letter and, like, you know, not putting a return address on it and sending it down there, because they would hand it to him in the mail and he would open it and he would read it out of pure curiosity. Because you're bored in jail. And I thought about telling him exactly what the fuck he is and how he doesn't deserve the air that he's breathing. I really did, but I think that I need to show some restraint and probably not do that. I probably shouldn't. Should probably leave it alone.
what it teaches us as dads and men, that you need to be there for your children. Because if he was, then, you know, a lot of this could have been avoided. And I hope in the future that we realize that the time that we spend away from our children, we allow creeps like this to be able to creep in. So, you know, be there, be present. That's the best defense against this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Dad's one thing. What about mom? Jennifer, do you think there is any scenario where this is not over for Jen Soto?
You know, we don't know why she wasn't charged. I mean, it seems very obvious to all of us, at least sitting here, that she had some involvement in this and at least ignored it, even if she didn't have direct involvement. And you know, I think it does amount to child abuse. It certainly does. But she has no more children as far as we know, no one else to protect. But she shouldn't be allowed around children and shouldn't be able to care for children again, because clearly she can't. So there should be some criminal liability, but as we understand thus far, she has not been charged.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we don't say Stephen Stern's name anymore, because he is, as you guys have articulated, the worst of the worst. And today he pled guilty in Florida. He'll spend the rest of his life in prison. When we come back, new details in the disturbing case of a teen charged with the murder of a paddleboarder in the state of Maine.
What the hell? All right, I think that's it on Stearns on that one. So let's go to the next one. This one was playing right when I came live, and it says, why wasn't Jennifer Soto at Stefan's sentencing? I think it might be that lady that you guys don't like, though, so we're going to check it out and see what they say. Sandra said, that's how I feel. Tyler's statement made excuses why he wasn't there. That child had no parent that really loved her, sadly. I get it. I think, but you got to remember, like, Jennifer, they got full custody of Maddie and blocked him from being there for the most part. And she had only been allowed to go back and see him in October. Now, he was in trouble with things he did in the military. I mean, but remember, a lot of people sign up for the military at 18 years old and do dumb shit. I mean, some people do. You know, I think 18 is too young to make life decisions like that. So maybe I'm biased in that. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for him. However, I couldn't imagine being in his shoes, and, you know, they have full custody of my child. They cared enough to do that, like to spend all that money to fight me in court to get full custody. I mean, you got to look at the situation as a whole. And he did just see her in October. He was trying to be there. It's not like he walked away and said, you know, not my child, not my problem, or whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, what? Oh, no. Yeah, it's okay. You probably weren't here when we did the tribute to Ozzy. In case you guys don't know, Ozzy did die today, unfortunately. I don't know, Donna. I don't know why his family didn't visit him in jail. I think they might have went to get papers signed, but that was about it. And I wonder if they might turn their back on him, but I can't see Mama turning her back on her
Hopefully
baby
we don't say Stephen Stern's name
at all. No, not that one. This one.
So I told her I love her. That's the last thing I ever said to her.
Not that. Let's see. Okay, right here is a section titled, Where is Jennifer Soto?
Just talking about, where is mom Jennifer Soto? Madeline's mother, absent at her boyfriend Stephen Stearns' plea hearing. He pleaded and avoided the death penalty and addressed the court briefly on Monday.
So Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath frontman, died at the age of 76. His family has said that they will miss their beloved Ozzy and ask for privacy during this time. And they talked about Parkinson's disease. So I think it got him, and we played the Crazy Train as a tribute to him. Very unfortunate that he passed away, but he was called home, as someone so eloquently put in chat.
I have nothing but sorrow for her loss.
Oh,
And
you're
I miss her all the time.
I know.
Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well. And she truly was a joy.
Right. Good to see you, East Texas. I agree.
I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her. And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice.
This was his victim impact statement. I don't care what anybody says. He got a victim impact statement, and that's what he did.
Miss her all the time.
Emmy
I'll
Barra.
never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
The judge sentenced him to concurrent life sentences for the
Concurrent. Let's look that up. Emmy Barra, I get it. Everybody is allowed to have their opinions, thoughts, and speculations in my chat. I mean, I know a lot of people feel that way. Concurrent. C-O-N. Yeah, it is concurrent. Existing, happening, or done at the same time. So all his life sentences will be served at the same time instead of one right after the other. But he got life without parole, so that doesn't mean that he can get out. Jen is hiding at her family members' properties or in a mental health facility. Either way, she'll be shamed by so many in Florida and the rest of the country. That's true. I said what I said. Good to see you. Hannah said, in my opinion, Tyler's wife was the only person advocating for Maddie this whole time. She was the only one that spoke out at Maddie's memorial. I don't like people attacking her or Tyler. At least they showed up. That's true. They did show up. Do not bring them back, though. Who, Krista? Good to see you. Tamsin, I think it's disgusting that Stephen Stearns was able to have the last words. Those words will forever be ringing in people's ears now. He took zero responsibility, vile man. Yep. I agree. She wouldn't let him spend time with her, and he allowed it, but she had to go up there like a ball and chain. Well, she did speak out at the memorial. I don't know. Without being in the family or close to them, I don't know that we'll ever know. But you're allowed to have your opinion, and I respect it. Carr said, "Oh my God, that pissed me off so much. He shouldn't be allowed to talk about her like that. He permanently silenced her beautiful voice. He snuffed out that bright light. He ruined everything." Yep, I agree. Orange Rose agrees with you, Amy Barra. A lot of people do, to be fair. Honor her memory when you dishonored her in life so much. And that's what everybody's having problems with.
Sex crimes and for the homicide. We're wondering this morning, what is going to happen with mom Jennifer Soto? Will we see her again? And will the next time we see her be in criminal court?
I agree.
Let's bring in our legal eagles now with me. Attorneys William Ehlenfeld and Matthew Timpanik. So great to have you both here this morning. All right, Jennifer Soto. My blood boils, as you both can see, talking about this woman. We have a lot of our courties at home that feel very strongly that Jennifer Soto has some criminal liability here. Will we see her charged? I want some predictions. And Matt.
I want some too. Lily Gal, thank you so much for the super chat. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Lily Gal says, Jen said in a police interview when she and Stephen Stearns dated a... Wait a minute. Jen said in police interview, Stephen Stearns dated a very young girl in his past. So with that knowledge, she still sent her child to bed with Stephen. That's blatant child endangerment right there. I agree. I think it was that he was like 18 and the girl was 14. I don't know. I don't know the age. Somebody's told me. The thing, like, if it's an age difference like that, like somebody's 17 or 18 and then a child's 14, I don't condone it. I don't think it's appropriate at all, but society is more accepting of it, maybe. Um, and maybe, I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know. I would say maybe that's why she thought it was all right, but then you take into account the electric complex, the oogling over Stefan if that happened, and she herself made the Woody Allen comment. So it's like that's my biggest problem. Like if they were oogling over him together, and Jen thought that Maddie had an electric complex, which was a Freudian theory that was disproven. And then the Woody Allen situation, I mean, not only did you not say, wait a minute, why do I feel like this Woody Allen situation might happen, but you're sending her to bed with him. Like, that's a big thing for me. I appreciate the support, Lily Gowan. Thank you for that. So I thought the age difference was girl was like 15 and he was 19 or 20 was Jen Stape. Okay. Okay. It's more accepted by society, or I guess, but that is a significant age difference. But like then it's hard to explain. Like I don't think a 19 or 20-year-old has any business with a 15-year-old at all. But a lot of people will look at it like, okay, well, yeah, that's illegal because they're teenagers. But then if they were to know each other down the road and she was 30 and he was 35, that would be acceptable. Unfortunately, a lot of people look at it like that, even though it's not, it still shouldn't be acceptable. I was groomed by somebody that was a lot older than me. Bigger age gap than that. It was 7 years from the time I was very young. So maybe I have a biased opinion on it because I was in a situation like that, and it I don't know. I don't want to get too personal. I got out of that relationship, thank God, and it was a bad relationship, but sometimes it's not. Again, my bigger thing is the electric complex, the oogling, and the Woody Allen comment. Kendall, yeah, Kendall and Callie. I thought that's who it was. I heard today because the judge didn't ask him if he had anything to say before sentencing. That's grounds for appeal. I bet he uses it. Well, he did get asked if he had something to say, and that's when he gave that disgusting quote unquote victim impact statement, allegedly.
Tim Panic, you are in the state of Florida. That's where you practice. I'm going to begin with you. Your thoughts, please.
I think we're going to. I think the upcry from her basically skating is just too deafening if it were.
Yep.
When you look at what was actually the allegations in this case, they are just disgusting. They are despicable. They're unforgivable.
This is Matthew Tempenick. And his bio is former prosecutor in Sarasota and Manatee counties, former law clerk, 12th Judicial Circuit State Attorney's Office, also practiced civil law, including malpractice and commercial litigation.
And for this woman to allow that man into her daughter's life and to eventually take that life and then being able to plead no contest, just for the audience's edification, in the state of Florida, you can plead no contest.
Okay, are you talking about T-Rev? Because if that's what you're talking about, that was all a lie. He got that guy Smoke to pretend to be that guy who said those are outrageous things and said that he was related to Stephen Stearns or a friend of Stephen Stearns or whatever. And it was all a lie to get people in chat and to get Stearns. I mean, not Stearns. There's a correlation in my eyes. T-Rev more views. And he screwed himself, allegedly, in my opinion. But I don't want to talk crap about other people. But one of the very first videos I did was a drama video. It's all members only, and I just that whole thing makes me utterly disgusted. And you know, you might not have known. I'm just trying to let you know that it ended up being not that person, if that's who you're referencing. Oh, no, you're okay. You're okay. I'm sorry. I get angry about the situation, not at you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound like I was going off at you. The situation, what T-Rev did makes me so angry. I'd like to punch a wall, but it's not you, sweetheart. And I'm sorry if I sounded angry at you. Yeah, that was a whole shitstorm. A female's brain isn't fully developed until 25 and 30. Okay, I'm sorry. for males. So at younger ages, youth are making decisions coming from a less mature understanding. That's very true. That's why it's not good for that stuff to go on. You're very right.
Which says that there's enough evidence to prove the case, but I'm not saying I did it.
Okay.
But it's also on the judge. The judge can decline to accept a no contest plea. So I'm definitely shocked that the judge allowed the defendant to, in fact, plead no contest to a murder charge. That never happens.
Oh, Matt Timpanic, thank you so much for that. That's some really great perspective. That's very helpful because boy, did it make me mad. I was shouting coward at my TV when I was watching that. He couldn't even utter the words, I'm guilty. William Ehlenfeld, let me go to you next, please. You've seen a lot in your career. If you had to bet here, what do you think we're going to see with Jennifer Soto?
Good morning, Julie. Yeah, Jennifer's silence speaks volumes. The fact that not only did she not make a victim impact statement yesterday, she didn't even show up. And it was notable that all of these other family members and friends showed up and made very impactful statements at yesterday's sentencing hearing and plea hearing, yet she was nowhere to be found. So I think, in many cases like this where you have a spouse or a girlfriend who might have some criminal exposure, she might have an attorney who's advising her, look, it's not in your best interest to show up at that hearing because all you can do is hurt yourself. Certainly, if you make a statement, you could potentially be used against you later on. So,
okay, if she had an attorney that told her you don't need to go there, I mean, I feel like we're making excuses. Even making a statement that could be used against you later, like absolutely not. That's my child, my only child. Like you can help me write a statement as an attorney to convey what I want to say so that it can't be used against me, or if they bring it up, it's not held against me to where it can hurt me. But I'm absolutely going to write a statement. I'm absolutely going to try to be there. I mean, I can be there, be quiet in the back, and not make any sounds or noises, and then let somebody else read my statement. Absolutely not. Like now, I feel like you're making an excuse. Nope. She won't go against Stefan. In my opinion, he holds her freedom in his hands. I agree, Lady K. I think so too. Vicky the Leo said, "What gets my goat is." My goats are outside. It's the charges for SA from 13 to 18. She was 13 all of 4 days. What about the SA with a minor ages 8 to 13? Did those charges just go away? I think he got charged for at least one of them. I don't know exactly how many he got for that one, but at least one of those. And then the 13 to 18, and then the lewd and lascivious molestation, and maybe something else. Right. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're making an excuse, in my opinion. Jen stayed away on purpose, or she's totally insane and has been institutionalized. They can't say anything about it, that if she is. And if she was institutionalized, that might be the only way that she gets out of not being there. But he did get charged for under. Okay.
I've prosecuted many cases involving child abuse, creating risk of injury, or child abuse resulting in death. And so I think there's a lot of evidence here based upon what you just laid out. The fact that she allowed her daughter to have so much contact with him, knowing what he was doing. I think all signs are pointing towards charges against her. And it's just a matter of time before the state of Florida brings those.
Always great predictions from you, William and Matt. Thank you both for that. Let's take a look back at some of what she said. We know that we've got her speaking to police numerous times. There's body camera footage, interrogation room footage. Let's take a quick look back at some of what Jennifer Soto shared.
Right.
At any time during the course of your relationship, has he expressed that he's ever had sex with a child?
No. Not a child, but when he told me when he was in high school, he graduated high school like later, like older than 18. Okay. He dated somebody younger than 18. I think she was 15.
I mean, but okay, if you are viewing that as an issue or too much of an age gap, then that makes the whole situation different. Because if you're telling the police that, when they ask you if he talks about dating children or somebody that young, I mean, like, obviously you see it as a problem, along with the Woody Allen comment, along with allegedly, per his words, the Ugolin and the Electra complex. Like, no. And then again, the biggest thing for me is the well, the sex stuff isn't evil, but the homicide is. Hey Tony, good to see you. Lily Gale said if charges are coming for her, then her lawyer will advise her to say nothing at his sentencing in case it's used against her. It's possible. I just don't think there's any charges coming for her. It doesn't feel like justice. Maybe when she left, but not a lot of people there. Yeah. Any institution would allow her to go with permission. Maybe. It depends. I mean, I don't know. I would say it depends on oh God. Oh my God. Okay, it depends on if it's going to be detrimental for her mental health. Cara, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate that. Let me see who those went to real quick. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to clear my throat in y'all's ear. Those went to Zan, Rachel, Sonia, Donna, Summer, Darlene, Wade, Amy, Itch the Scratch. If you were gifted from Cara, please tell Cara thank you. Thank you so much, Cara. And I'm going to play Crazy Train today because of Ozzy. So I'm going to grab the Crazy Train to pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I have got to make a phone call because something just happened in my real life. Good to see you. So I'm going to play this video while I make this phone call.
Did it start there or did it start sooner? Who knows with this guy? Matt Timpanic, tell me, having been a Florida prosecutor, you're a criminal defense attorney there now. What charges specifically under Florida law do you think Ms. Jennifer Soto could potentially be hit with here?
I think the most serious offense that could be is potentially aggravated child abuse. And the reason is that this individual, this defendant, allowed a individual that she knew to be essentially a deviant, potentially a violent person into her home and be with her child. And it just seemed like from the very get-go of this case, that is like, you're not telling us everything, are you? And as a defense attorney, yeah, my advice is don't say anything. But as a human being, it's like, how could you possibly allow this man anywhere close to your child? And I think that she's lucky she could get away with something like aggravated child abuse, because I just don't see the state of Florida, I believe it's Osceola County, if I have the courtroom correctly, letting this go, because her conduct was just too egregious. And it's not a situation where we're like, well, we're going to allow you, your conduct was, we're not going to condone it, but we're not going to charge you at the same time. I just don't see that happening.
Okay. Matt, thank you so much for that. Madeline Soto's biological father was there at the plea hearing, did deliver a victim impact statement. Let's take a listen back.
I'm sorry. I had to take a phone call. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm going to back this up just a little bit because I wanted to see if they said that Jennifer Soto more than likely won't be charged. Again, I apologize. It was a matter of actually life or death. So I had to take that phone call. But I'm going to play. I just wanted to hear the very end of this real quick with you guys.
Essentially a deviant, potentially a violent person into her home and be with her child. And it just seemed like from the very get-go of this case, that is like, you're not telling us everything, are you? And as a defense attorney, yeah, my advice is don't say anything. But as a human being, it's like, how could you possibly allow this man anywhere close to your child? And I think that she's lucky she could get away with something like aggravated child abuse, because I just don't see the state of Florida, I believe it's Osceola County, if I have the courtroom correctly, letting this go, because her conduct was just too egregious. And it's not a situation where we're like, well, we're going to allow you, your conduct was, we're not going to condone it, but we're not going to charge you at the same time. I just don't see that happening.
Matt, thank you so much for that. Madeline Soto's biological father was there at the plea hearing, did deliver a victim impact statement. Let's take a listen back together to that now.
You're depraved. You're weak. You're a coward. You're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak. We're all on edge because it doesn't heal with time. This isn't like other deaths that I've experienced. This just gets worse. It just gets worse every time I rethink about it and the true horror of what this man visited upon her. And I can only hope that he lives a long time in prison and has those same horrors revisited upon him by his fellow inmates.
Oh my gosh, I agree with everything Dad said there. William E. Linfeld, I want to turn to you here. You've had such a long career being such a great champion for victims, a prosecutor at the state level, then a United States attorney twice, 2 terms you served there. You've done so much for so many people. When you hear Dad there in the courtroom, tell us about some of the things you're thinking about the dynamic that was perhaps at play there in this home where his daughter was living.
So I appreciate y'all asking. Everything's okay. It's hard to say because like anything that might have been seen might have been correlated to normal bodily functions of a teenage girl. I mean, even I don't want to be too graphic, but even in the back, because she references giving her Miralax or some kind of thing like that to help her use the bathroom. So if there was blood seen back there and Maddie wasn't, telling her what was going on, it could have been related to tearing due to solid, hard constipation type stuff. Sometimes that can cause tearing, and it could have been related to that if Madeline was not informing her mother of the abuse that she was suffering. So it's really hard to say. Southern Gal, Max, Cinnamon Bear, everybody coming in. Thank you for being here. I know Ozzy Osbourne has passed away, Max, and I'm so sorry. It's a sad day. It's a sad day. This case is ugly. Miralax does not make you have diarrhea. It's very gentle. Right. But if she's on Miralax because of constipation, then any kind of blood could have been related to constipation and tearing in that because of constipation. What kind of mother lets a grown man sleep with her young daughter? I'm glad that Maddie's dad got to speak out of court for Maddie. He sounds absolutely heartbroken, unlike Jen. And they were there. I agree, Rhonda, and thank you. They were there, sorry, I'm befuddled a little bit. They were there at like the memorials, and they did come to court and they did speak on her behalf. I know a lot of people feel the way they feel about Tatiana, but I mean, keep in mind that, that's going to be a hard dynamic anyway, because Tyler was with Jen while they were engaged to be married, and then they still got married afterwards. And so it's a hard dynamic. I can't say anything without being, in that household with that family, and even then I don't think I would have had the right to say anything. Crystal says Jennifer Soto needs to be arrested. Yesterday, in my opinion, she neglected her beautiful daughter and trusted that nasty piece of shit Stefan with her to actually sleep with her. That's the sickest she could do. I agree. If she knew. And that's the problem, proving that she knew beyond a reasonable doubt.
With her mom and mom's despicable boyfriend.
That's what you expect a parent to say,
right?
Is exactly what we heard from the father there. And then you've got the mother who doesn't even bother to show up and make a statement. And and so, I can't imagine being that father. knowing that that occurred. And, you know, he probably has so many feelings going through his body. And we heard some of that right there in the courtroom. But you know, parents are supposed to protect their children. And that's what the mother of this child failed to do. Jen Soto failed to protect this child. So, you know, it's just so heartbreaking to hear him make those statements, to feel his pain. And I know he probably wishes he could have and could have done more to protect his daughter, but he was unable to. So I just can't imagine what he's feeling right now. And I do hope that, you know, that certainly Mr. Stern is going to have a target on his back for decades in prison. And in many ways, that's worse than the death penalty. The fact that he committed these crimes that aren't going to be viewed very well inside the walls of a Florida prison for the rest of his life. And so I think that, you know, justice is being served with this defendant, and hopefully there will be justice when it comes to Jen Soto down the road.
Boom, drop the mic right there. William Ehlenfeld, excellent points. Thank you so much for that. We'll leave the segment here for now. I'm so glad we have both of you gentlemen coming with us for more opening statements. Friends at home, go refill your coffee. Here's what's coming up next.
Obviously losing my sister.
Oh, I'm not muted. Okay. Just trying to see if they were talking about Jen anymore. Okay, that one doesn't talk about Jen. There's a few news clips I was going to play about for you guys. And then we'll talk about some of the emails. I want to see the playlist in a different way so I can see what's new, like what the oldest is and what the newest is. There. We can play this one from, I don't know. Oh, let's watch these two, 7 hours ago and then 5 hours ago. Oh, my volume.
Of sexually abusing, developing this morning. Take a look at this man accused of sexually abusing and murdering Maddie Soto, who will now spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Stephen Stearns pleaded guilty to sex abuse charges, no contest to her murder. It was an emotional day in court yesterday, and Fox 35's Amanda McKenzie is live outside the Osceola County Courthouse this morning. Amanda.
Well, several family members, including Maddie's dad, got up to give their impact statements in the courtroom. And it was a very emotional time as they talked about how their lives have forever been changed ever since the moment they learned that Maddie had been murdered. Now, in the silence between each person who got up to speak, you could hear crying in the courtroom. Now, Stephen Stearns will spend the rest of his life in jail for sexually abusing 13-year-old Maddie Soto. Investigators say he abused her for years before murdering her last year. He apologized to Maddie's family during his plea hearing yesterday, but his words were no comfort for the teen's dad, who stood less than a foot away to read his impact statement.
Yeah, I want to know what Tyler had to say about sorry. I got Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I got choked. I swallowed the wrong way. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cough in y'all's ear. Gracious. I want to know what Tyler had to say about what Stephen Stearns said, because Stephen Stearns spoke after Tyler. All I need is Jesus. Happy birthday. We played a song and I dedicated it to you and Miss Scorpio Rising as a beginning of the stream. So definitely check that out. It's good to see you. All I need is Jesus. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm going to take another sip of my Red Bull over here and try not to choke this time. I didn't mean to cough in y'all's ear. I apologize about that.
I will miss her all the time. I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
I can't grasp the selfishness of you, the deplorability of your actions.
The court accepted a plea deal in both cases offered by his defense team, with the state agreeing to take the death penalty off the table. Stearns pled no contest to the February 2024 murder of the 13-year-old. Her body was found in a wooded area in St. Cloud days after she was reported missing. Stearns pled guilty to all 60 sex crime charges for abusing the teen for years before killing her. Maddie's mom, Jen Soto, was not in court on.
So there's all her family. And, Cara Bubara said Stefan just tried to blend in with the family and give a fucking eulogy, pardon my French. You're good. Now that you say it like that, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, that's what he tried to do. He gave his victim impact statement. He gave his fucking eulogy because he feels like he's just as much of a victim of all of this as everybody else is. Like, he will never see himself as the perpetrator or be held accountable for what he did. Just like with the emails we're going to get into in a minute. He would have never told me why. He would have never told me why. I would have never got the truth. Anyway. Windpipes are not food pipes. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And again, happy birthday. I appreciate y'all all telling. All I need is Jesus. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah, he's not, but he sees himself as the victim forever and always, for all of eternity. I'm real interested in what Deb or Chris has to say about it. And I feel like she's going to run her mouth a little bit more, and then everybody's going to forget about her and move on to another case. And I don't think she's going to like that very much. Rhonda said he didn't apologize for what he did to Maddie. In my opinion, he doesn't feel guilt. He's a monster. It's all about him not getting the D penalty. He threw her away like garbage after abusing her for years. Yep, he sure did. In the prone position, face down in the dirt. Like, couldn't even, it brought a little bit of solace to me thinking that originally he had later in the fetal position, okay? Like, I was like, oh, okay, well, when he went out there, maybe he was, remorseful about what had happened. Maybe it was an accident, not excusing it in any way, but at least in death, she had been shown some dignity, right? But like, nope, face down in the dirt, just thrown out like garbage. And I was like, no, Hey, Pat. Yeah, it just, I wish I could have 5 minutes alone with him too. Only one of us would walk out of that room.
On Monday. Now, with the new plea deal, that means no trial will start today or in September. Reporting live from the Osceola.
21 life sentence. Okay, wait a minute. Stephen Stearns given 21 life sentences in the death of Madeline Soto. I thought they said for every charge he got a life sentence. So let's see. Update.
Welcome back, 8:14. Now, we do have an update on our top story. Stephen Stearns is going to spend the rest of his life behind bars for the rape and murder of 13-year-old Maddie Soto. Stearns pled guilty to 20 sex crime charges yesterday, but he also pled no contest to killing Maddie. That means he accepts the punishment, but he does not admit any guilt. And we want to bring in our good friend and defense attorney, Whitney Bones. She's here to break down this case for us and explain some of the ins and outs. First of all, great to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Let's talk about what that plea of no contest means too. I think that's a little confusing for some people.
It is. Thank you for saying thank you for Fireflies. It's nice to meet you. He was scared of the death penalty. He was. Tom coming through telling him there ain't going to be no green bologna sandwiches and no friends for you in prison, homie.
So what it means is that he's not contesting that the state can prove the elements of the offense, in this case, first-degree murder, against him. However, he's not admitting the guilt per se or accepting the responsibility for having committed the murder. The sentence for a no contest plea or a guilty plea can be the same. And in this case, this was a negotiated plea agreement between the defense and the state attorney's office that then ultimately was accepted by Judge Carson or the court. But in essence, I mean, he didn't deny that he committed the murder, but he didn't admit it.
Well, and we sort of heard that too, Whitney, in his statement that he made in court. He talked for about a minute and a half. And one of the things that was, I think, very noticeable to people is that he stopped short of apologizing for him being the reason that Maddie is gone. It was almost sort of a bizarre statement, but I assume that the defendant is allowed to give whatever statement they want.
Actually, the defendant is allowed, and the judge has to permit the defendant to make a statement during sentencing by law. It can sometimes, in unique circumstances, almost be reversible error if a judge did not allow a defendant to allocute, or is what it's called when a defendant wants to speak during sentencing.
But upsetting, I'm sure, for the family to hear
very
him
much
not take full responsibility.
Very much. I'm sure it was very hard for the family to sit and listen to him say, that he misses her and that, how he feels about her loss in this world after.
Allie, if it's your birthday, happy birthday to you too. I'll play the song again at the end for you guys. Yeah, his DNA. So she had DNA from Stefan. I believe it was on her chest. I'd have to pull up the report, but it was on her. Yeah, it wasn't an Alford plea, which is the one from North Carolina. It was a regular plea, as far as I know. When I hear Alford plea, I think of the West Memphis 3.
Even if he didn't admit that he committed the murder, he did admit to horribly sexually abusing her, committing capital sexual battery to 20 counts, and obviously there were 60 charges related to the images and the videos found on his phone.
So disturbing. One of the things that you and I talked about here in the commercial break before we came on was that the family would have had to have agreed to this. And I want to sort of compare that to the Koberger case, which a lot of people are following in Idaho, where the family said that they were shocked by the deal and had no idea. Is it different state to state, and how does that work?
Well, here in Florida, and I can tell you locally here with the Orange and Osceola County's state attorney's office in the Ninth Judicial Circuit, they're going to take it very seriously how a victim feels about an outcome. And in this case, the victim's going to be Maddie Soto's family. So ultimately, even according to our Florida state constitution and Marcy's law, the victim's family gets to be meaningfully conferred with about the result that happens, but it is ultimately up to prosecutors. It's my opinion, I obviously am not involved in this case directly, that I don't believe Judge Carson would have likely taken the plea if the family had been adamantly against his not going forward with the trial and then pursuing the death penalty.
I wonder, though, if the family had any say-so in this at all whatsoever. Lilligout pointed out what's up with Florida and Ocean deals, thought judge and judiciary were tough on crime and the death penalty. If not the death penalty for this case, then what is it for? And right, they just changed the law so that people could get the death penalty for all of the CSAM and stuff. And excuse the hell out of me, but if you're not going to give him the death penalty for the CSAM in this case, then what the hell is it for? He was never charged with the death penalty in the CSAM case. It was always going to be for the homicide case because they were going to be able to prove an aggravating factor when he got charged with the CSAM, which there was really no getting out of. Why was he not charged with the death penalty for that case? Like, really? Of all the cases? I mean, even talking about being in the public with it being such a televised case, that's your time to shine, Florida. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's just a system sometimes, in my opinion, not a justice system. I agree. I don't feel like anybody got justice, especially when he was allowed to have the last word. She wasn't even a woman. What Stefan did to her made her think she was a woman after the fact of his crimes. Jen was supposed to protect her, and Stefan too. What the actual fuck? I agree. Hey, Red. Oh, well, don't tell that on here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, love. Psychic Amelia, I saw that you came in. Good to see you. The way you get him to talk to a person and say what happened, you act like a teenage girl. I tried that once. We're going to talk about what he did tell me, but I still don't think he would have told anything. I didn't necessarily try to act like a teenage girl, but I don't know. No deal is made in conjunction with someone else's charges and crimes. No matter how he is charged, if there's evidence of Jen's involvement, they will charge her. I hope so. I thought the CSAM did little bit of Lisa. I thought they made it where in Florida it's a new law that the CSAM stuff could get him charged with the death penalty. So I'm going to look that up. They had all the evidence with it was 1,700 images on his phone, and they're trying to find out if he's selling her pictures. I think he was. I don't think that you have 1,700 images for personal use, honestly. But, you know, I don't know. Was it worth it? I don't know. I mean, I don't want any other child being abused, but at the same time, Maddie didn't get justice. I don't know. It's a hard one. I mean, if we can save another child, then okay. But can we? Lisa said he wasn't charged with the death penalty for the CSAM because, one, it isn't retroactive since he was just implemented for under 12, and two, most likely it will be shown to be unconstitutional. That's a good point.
In the end, this was obviously a very good result for Mr. Stearns because now he doesn't go through the trial and he isn't facing the death penalty, which I think he very likely may have gotten based on the aggravated circumstances here, based on the sexual abuse prior to the murder. But it also brings finality for the family. It also means they don't have to go through the trial and listening to the jury have to deliberate or hear about the sexual abuse that happened. And look at these images, you know, that's a re-victimization every time those images are shown. There's no good outcome here.
But a jury should have been made to see those images and make a decision on his life and death. I'm sorry. I will feel that way till the end of time. It says, yes, Florida does allow the death penalty for certain crimes, including sexual assault involving a child under 12. And he had what? I'd have to look, but like a lot. According to Florida statute, a capital felony conviction is required. And the prosecution must prove the presence of an aggravating factor, such as the crime being especially heinous or committed while avoiding arrest. They probably would have had a problem with that. He doesn't have any other capital felony charges, and that might be why they were going for the death penalty in the homicide case, because if he got convicted for the CSAM, that would have proven to be a capital felony. It says, and the prosecution must prove the presence of aggravating factors, such as the crime being especially heinous or committed while avoiding arrest. Recent legislative changes have made Florida one of the states with the lowest threshold for imposing the death penalty, allowing for a death sentence even with a majority recommendation.
A good result, and nothing brings this child back. But this is probably, you know, for both sides, a means of making sure that there's no further appeals of this since he's waived the right, and there's some closure here without the stress and the pain of a trial.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's a very difficult, long, arduous process. Well, we so appreciate you coming in and explaining it to us in more detail. Thank you. Always wonderful to see you.
Okay. I'm going to play that for y'all at the end. The birthday song. Okay. We'll go up here.
You're a coward. You crept into a family and exploited them when they were weak.
Now at 5, family and loved ones of Madeline Soto speaking directly to her killer today.
I have so much hatred in my heart, specifically for the creature that's sitting in this room today.
As Stephen Stearns learns he will spend the rest of his days behind bars.
Apologize for all the pain.
It doesn't heal with time. This isn't like other deaths that I've experienced.
I love you, Madeline Soto, and I hope you're resting peacefully now.
News 6 at 5 starts right now.
Stephen Stearns will be spending the rest of his life behind bars, pleading guilty and no contest to a number of charges related to the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto from about a year and a half ago. We have team coverage from the Osceola County Courthouse with anchor Ginger Gadsden, investigator Mike DeForest, and Catherine Silver, who have the latest on today's court proceedings and the reaction from it. Ginger, let's start with you.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt, it was really...
I do agree that the roommates did not have any idea what was going on. I think that the one tried to say something, and Jen said that she said something about Madeline being in there with him, allegedly watching TV or playing video games, and Jen said, thank you. Oh. Order for civil. Okay, wait a minute. I clicked over here because someone was talking about transcripts. This is the CSAM. Guilty, adjudicated guilty on all of the first 20 counts. And there was 8 counts under 12. Nole, thank you, prosecui. Here's all of the fees. $100, $3, $1, $392. $11,033 is his outstanding balance after that. They waived doc packet submitted via e-portal. Order for civil judgment. What is this? Okay. The matter having come before me, the court being advised in the premises is thereupon ordered and decreed that a civil judgment is hereby entered against the defendant for $5,793 upon order of the court. He's paying for rape crisis program surcharge court cost, $150 for several counts. Felony rape crisis program surcharge. Battery domestic violence surcharge. I wonder why he's... Yo, this is crazy. I've never looked up this stuff before. Court cost, yeah. He avoided trial so that what they found in discovery wouldn't be brought forth in trial. I'm hoping to get everything. Okay, let's go back over here. Oh, it's going to make me do it this way. Hold on. Hold on just a minute. Okay. Order for civil judgment. Oh my God. This one's 21 pages. What is this? Adjudicated guilty. Term of life. Sentence 2. Adjudicated guilty. Term of natural life. Sentence 3. Adjudicated guilty. Term of natural life. 4 is the same. 5 is the same. 6, same. 7, the same. 8, the same. 9, the same. He was given 509 days credit, but so, I mean, I think it is 21. 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. They're all adjudicated guilty for a term of natural life. It's further ordered concurrent. Okay. I don't know. We'll have to look at these pages and stuff. I wonder what the document packet is. Keep with reasonable. Oh, that's to take him to the department. Yep, he's going to Department of Corrections. Huh. Okay. I'll look up the homicide too. I have to go. Okay. All right, Crystal. Have a good day, love. There might be enough to charge Jen Soto if Stephen Stearns has info to help them get her. Yeah, I thought about that, but I just don't think there's going to be charges.
An emotional day in court. This grueling year-and-a-half case in the Stephen Stearns and the death of Madeline Soto is finally now over for this community. And as you said, Matt, Stearns will now spend the rest of his life in prison. That's what we were able to learn at this hearing today. Now, if you're relatively new to the area or haven't been following this case, Soto's mom arrived at the 13-year-old school to pick her up in February. This is February 2024. When the school told her Madeline never made it that morning, Stearns, who was dating Soto's mom, was the last person to see the teen, and he was supposed to drop her off at school that morning. Stearns was arrested later that month in connection with Madeline's disappearance. Her remains were then found in the woods in Kissimmee in early March of 2024. 2024. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest has been following and covering this case since Madeline first disappeared. And Mike, it's your dedication to this case. You have a 6-part YouTube series that talks about justice for Maddie and gives us a lot of details in this case. And it's because you were paying such close attention to the details that you noticed there was a status change. The hearing, the trial that was supposed to start tomorrow, there was something happening today. You noticed that.
That's right. Stephen Stearns was supposed to have 2 separate trials. One was supposed to begin tomorrow. They had already.
I have the plea agreement. Do y'all want to go ahead and go over that? Or do you want to watch the rest of this video first and then go over the plea agreement? I don't know. I haven't read all of it. I mean, I just found it. But I don't think it's going to tell us much. Anita said, what was the name of the neighborhood where Stearns' mom and dad lived, and where was, I don't know that. I don't keep records on things like that. And I would ask that nobody go and talk to them or mess with them. I know, Dee, we were talking about how he passed. It's really sad. Yeah. Well, let's not be dropping addresses or anything like that in my chat, please, because don't nobody need none. No, nope, I do not. Absolutely not. I'm going to tell you no, don't do that.
We sent out jury notices to show up here. But you talk about the impact this has had on the community. That's why we did that series about this. Because people have been vested ever since Madeline Soto was first reported missing. And I think what spoke to it was the people who were up in the courtroom today. You saw it. Courtroom was packed with Madeline Soto's family and friends, also law enforcement, all in the back couple rows. But Ginger, what was noticeable, who was not in court today, was Madeline Soto's own mother. She was not there. We looked around, even talked to a couple people, did not see her there. Now, after a judge sentenced her former boyfriend, Stephen Stearns, to life in prison, Stearns actually addressed the court and talked about the teenage girl that prosecutors say he raped and murdered.
I have nothing but sorrow for her loss,
Oh, shut up.
and I miss her all the time. Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well,
Okay.
and she truly was a joy.
Now, as part of an agreement with prosecutors, Stearns pleaded no contest to murdering Soto, who was his girlfriend's daughter. Now, legally, no contest is the same thing as a guilty plea, but Stearns did not take responsibility for intentionally killing her.
Yeah, and that's a problem for me. Mike, we were wondering about that. I was talking to somebody about that. If he did telegram what happened to her that night and somebody has that video, I mean, it doesn't mean anything now, I suppose, but like somebody out there might have a video of Madeline being abused and possibly dying. And if you were somebody who viewed things like that on Telegram, would you ever tell? Like, I don't think so. They probably would never tell. I hope there's no video out there of that. That's all I know to say. But I had thought about that, Mike.
Prosecutors believe Stearns strangled the teen to death last year, then dumped her body in a wooded area near St. Cloud. Now, Stearns did plead guilty to 20 sex crimes, including sexual battery on a child. Shortly before the judge sentenced Stearns to life in prison without the possibility of parole, Madeline Soto's biological father addressed the judge and Stearns.
I can't grasp it. I can't grasp the selfishness of you, the deplorability of your actions. You're depraved. You're weak. You're a coward.
After this video, I'll read y'all the plea agreement and we'll read some more emails.
You're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak.
The prosecutors originally announced that they would be seeking the death penalty for Soto's murder, but as part of today's plea deal, prosecutors agreed to withdraw the death penalty. The state also dropped about 40 criminal charges related to sexually explicit images of Soto that detectives say they found on Stearns' cell phone. Now,
see, that's why I'm like, why are we giving him a plea at all? Rosie, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And that was so very sweet and supportive of you. Rosie said, thank you for all the info and for all your videos. Thank you for checking them out and hanging out here with us. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That was so sweet of you. Thank you. Dee, good to see you, love. Good to see you. Thank you, guys. Y'all are so sweet. I really appreciate it.
besides Soto's father, as we mentioned, there were lots of family and friends. Some of them actually spoke to the judge very tearfully. Madeline Soto's maternal grandmother, the prosecutor read a statement from her. But no statement from Madeline Soto's own mother. She was absent today in this hearing.
And people were asking, where is her mom and why haven't we heard from her in this case? And like you mentioned, we saw a lot of law enforcement in this courtroom today. And I sat on the very back row and next to a law enforcement officer who was kind of watching the door, who's coming in and out. And when Stearns was speaking, I trained my eyes on him just to see what his reaction was. And it was disbelief as to what he was saying. And also we went down the elevator when it was all over and I said, I saw your reaction. What did you think? And he's like, no accountability was his answer. No,
even with life in prison, no accountability, because they want to hear him take responsibility for it.
See, even the police officer felt that way. Oh yeah, thank you guys, and thank you for saying that, Anita. I appreciate that. Y'all are so sweet. He never should have gotten that plea. We're gonna look at it, but like, what is? He's got to be given something in return. God, please, because if they just did this to save money from trial, I can't.
Exactly. All right, Mike DeForest, thank you for that. Okay, so while we were both inside the courtroom, there was a third member of our News 6 team, Catherine Silver, who was outside, and she was getting reaction from people who were watching this case and listening closely. But you were able, Kat, to speak with the attorney representing Madeline's biological dad. How did she say he felt about today's outcome?
Well, Ginger, she called today's hearing a step towards closure and said that is what Maddie's family hopes to get out of this plea agreement rather than deal with the pain of a trial and the lengthy appeals process that often comes with death penalty cases. Now, I spoke with attorney Deborah Barra outside the courthouse here, who also happens to be a former state prosecutor. She says the family feels there is no legal difference between the plea of no contest versus guilty to the murder charge, and that Maddie's father ultimately feels the outcome is the same regardless. Stephen Stearns will spend the rest of his life in prison.
In a case like this, there's never going to be any like joy or happiness. There's not going to be a resolution where everybody is like, that's great. But it is a matter of, well, what can you live with? And what does it mean for the family? And what does it mean for Maddie, quite honestly, moving forward?
And we did ask where the family goes from here, and she told us she really doesn't know the answer to that question.
I mean, honestly, where do you go after something like this? I mean, it's good that they can start the healing process, because it's really hard to try to heal when you know you've got a trial coming up and waiting for the outcome from that. So at least they can start the healing process. But I think everyone is really upset about this case. Lily Gal said even Cobb and Jen Soto's last interview said, "Did your actions lead to this?" And she said, yes. Interesting. I don't remember that off the top of my head.
But she did say that Maddie's father does plan to speak more on her behalf in the future. He just was not ready after an emotional afternoon at that hearing. We heard a lot today from Maddie's loved ones that they do not want this abuse to define her. Ginger, back to you.
And her father not wanting to speak today is pretty understandable, because this is such a horrific thing that he has had to go through. Catherine, thank you. Now, in the last hour, State Attorney Monique Worrell released a statement on Stearns' sentencing, saying in part, quote, "I want to extend my deepest condolences to the Soto family and everyone who loved Madeline. Her life was stolen in a senseless act of violence, and the pain of that loss is immeasurable."
That was his attorney who said that? Oh my God. I mean, I hope that she's at least making, like, referencing Stephen when she says her life was stolen in a senseless act of violence. I can't believe that. That's insane.
Our office conducted a meticulous review of this case, and every step we took was in close consultation with Madeline's family. And of course, this is not the end of the story. We, of course, will have more reporting on this coming your way at 6 o'clock, but you can always find the latest.
I think it was Stearns' attorney. Let me back it up.
Find her. Ginger, back to you.
And her father not wanting to speak today is pretty understandable because this is such a horrific thing that he has had to go through. Catherine, thank you. Now, in the last hour, State Attorney Monique Worrell released a statement on Stearns'
Okay, I'm
sentencing,
sorry.
saying in
It was the state attorney. I apologize. Okay, it was the prosecutor. I'm sorry.
part, quote, I want to extend my deepest condolences to the Soto family and everyone who loved Madeline. Her life was stolen in a senseless act of violence, and the pain of that loss is immeasurable. Our office conducted a meticulous review of this case, and every step we took was in close consultation with Madeline's family. And of course, this is not the end of the story. We, of course, will have more reporting on this coming your way at 6 o'clock, but you can always find the latest on our digital platforms, including clickorlando.com. Matt,
Okay. So it appears then that they were in agreement with the plea, but I don't know. I lost it. Okay. This is the actual plea agreement. So it's the state of Florida versus Stephen Stearns as the defendant. He pled nolo contendere as charged to murder in the first degree capital. So no contest. B, AG life without parole. CC a concurrent as noted in plea addendum. Penalties. I understand the total maximum penalties for the crime to be death. He signed it. Trial rights. Understand that if the court accepts my plea, I give up my right to a trial by jury. All of those things. He signed it. I understand that a plea of guilty admits that I committed the crime, and a plea of nolo contendere says that I do not contest the evidence against me. I understand that if the court accepts my plea, there will be no trial, and the court will impose sentence based upon my pleas. He signed it. Charges, defenses, and penalties. I've read the information and indictment in this case, and I understand the charges to which I enter my pleas. I have reviewed the evidence against me. I know of no physical evidence containing DNA which could exonerate me. My attorney has or have explained to me the maximum penalties for the charge, the essential elements of the crime, and possible defenses to the crimes. I understand these things. I also understand that if I am on probation, okay, he signed that. No one has pressured, forced, or threatened or coerced me to enter the pleas. I'm entering the pleas because I believe that is in my best interest. He's not going to be deported. He has a 12th grade education. At the present time, I'm not under the influence of any drugs or alcohol. I am not presently taking any medication, he said. He signed that. I understand the state of Florida is not seeking an enhanced sentence as non-applicable, for which the court may impose a sentence of non-applicable. He signed that. I understand that I will be sentenced to the statutory maximum unless the court can give me a greater sentence if I'm entering a plea of guilty or no contest to any offenses enumerated in the statute, and that the offense was committed within 3 years of my release from the... Okay, that's not important. He signed that. Understand that my sentence will be imposed pursuant to Florida law and criminal punishment code. The CPCS will be prepared and is based upon the offense that I'm entering my pleas prior and my prior criminal record. I understand that I will not be permitted to withdraw my plea if the correct criminal punishment code score sheet at my sentencing is other than what I presume at this time. I understand that the CPCS only suggests a minimum sentence and the court can sentence me to any lawful sentence. I understand that if my total sentence points are greater than or equal to 363, life sentence may be imposed by the court for any felony offense. I understand that the maximum sentence is up to the statutory maximum unless the lowest permissible prison sentence in months exceeds the statutory maximum. No one has promised me that the court will depart from the CPCS. He signed that. I agree the correct amount of time served that I am entitled to is, he signed it, it was 504 days, I believe. That's talking about early release. He won't get that. I waive my right to a hearing, and I agree that $100 is a reasonable sum to pay for the services of my court-appointed attorney. I mean, he got made to pay a lot more than that. He signed that. Understand that if I'm entering a plea of guilty or no contest to a sexually motivated offense, or if I've been previously convicted of a sexually motivated offense, the plea may subject me to involuntary civil commitment as a sexually violent predator upon completion of my sentence. He signed that. That's saying he would get his driver's license revoked. He signed that. I understand that while I'm incarcerated, my probation, community control, parole is told. That's not important. I understand that the court will order me to submit to a DNA sample. I understand if the court permits me to remain at liberty pending my sentencing. Okay, that's if you got released until sentencing. My financial obligations are referred to the collections court program for collection, that any failure to comply with the collection court program requirements will result in the suspension of my driving privilege. I do not waive my right to be present at any resolution attorney fee cost hearing. Okay. No one has promised me that this case will be sealed or expunged. So the case is not going to be sealed. Understand I have 30 days to file appeal of writing of the court's judgment and sentence to the clerk of court. I understand that if I cannot afford an attorney, I give up my right to appeal all matters except 1, the legality of my sentence, 2, the court's authority to hear this case, and 3, any pretrial ruling, which I have reserved as the right to appeal and for which this court has made a finding that controls an issue in this case. Hold on. Carol said if all they were going to do was take a stink and useless no contest for the death, then what was the point of all the previous hearings and wasting all that time and money for nothing to put on a show? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think Maddie got justice. I don't. If you're reading this, Jen, just know that karma's coming for you one way or another. You will not get away with this. It will follow you forever. Jen, you are the worst mother ever. Your financial obligations will be passed on to your parents as they've always been. Very true. Hey, Teresa Clay. Yeah, where's Stearns going to drive to? Down to Correctional Institute Boulevard? No doubt. Good question, Anita. Had he went to trial for the homicide, the defense may have pointed the finger at Jen Soto and created reasonable doubt, though unlikely he may have beat the charge. Maybe no contest was actually a good thing. You do have a point, Annabelle. He can't even afford root beer barrels. That's what it was for, and there is no justice. Our justice system is absolutely broken and a joke, and I've lost any and all faith in jurisprudence in the United States. A lot of people have, unfortunately. Yeah, he got his felt-tipped pen to sign all that paperwork. All right. No, said, I think he knew all along if they didn't suppress the evidence, he would plead. I think he hoped it would be suppressed and he may have had a chance at being acquitted. I do too. I think that the fact that they didn't suppress it had a lot to do with why he pled this way. Okay. I have read every word in this plea form and have discussed the contents with my attorney and fully understand it. I am fully satisfied with the way my attorneys have handled this case for me. My attorneys have done everything I've asked them to do. He signed it. Down here, addendum to plea form. The Assistant State Attorney Danielle Pennell and William J. and the defendant Stephen Michael Stearns, as well as his lawyers, agree to all the conditions outlined in this addendum to plea form and incorporate them into the plea agreement for these 2 cases. The defendant will enter a plea of guilty on counts 1 through 20 for the CSAM. The defendant will be sentenced to life in the Department of Correction on all 20 counts, and the sentences will run concurrently to each other as well as concurrently to the sentence for the other one. In exchange for the plea of guilty on counts 1 through 20, the state will enter a noli prosequi on counts 21 through 60. Furthermore, the state will file no additional charges against the defendant for any alleged sexual abuse regarding the named victim in counts 1 through 20. Nor will the state file any additional charges regarding any child porn that was recovered in any county during the course of this investigation and prosecution. Okay, so they're not going to file any other charges against, like, did they find more images of Maddie? Or is it just saying they're going to take those counts off and never charge him with them again? Probably the latter. The defendant waives his right to file an appeal regarding the denial of any or all of the motions to suppress, which were denied by trial court on July 1st, 2025. So yeah, the motions to suppress were denied, and he's waiving his right to file an appeal. That definitely played a big part in this. Okay, sorry. The defendant understands by entering into a plea agreement with the state of Florida, the state will not be required to present witness testimony and the digital evidence to prove the allegations in the information filed against the defendant. Although the visual evidence would be presented in a manner that members of the public would not be able to view it, that's important for me, not be able to view it. The defendant agrees that it's in his best interest not to have the testimony and evidence against him presented during a trial in a public courtroom. The defendant will enter a plea of no contest on the first-degree murder, and the defendant will be sentenced to life in Department of Corrections, and the sentence shall run concurrently. In exchange, the state will waive its notice of intent to seek the death penalty. Are you kidding me? So the state knew that he was going to say no contest, and because he entered a plea of no contest, they took the death penalty off the table? Are we fucking serious? I don't understand that. I had to clear my throat. Excuse me. In the United Kingdom, sex offenders here can get no jail time, tagging, or probation only, as we are completely out of prison spaces. They are letting people out after 1/3 of the sentence due to no spaces. That is insane. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's crap. Like, what are we even doing? It was part of the plea deal. It's all about the county and state saving money. I hope they save money. I hope they save money. I hope they save so much motherfucking money that they can all go shopping for the next 3 weeks. Ava Sim, good to see you. Yes, yes, yes. The judge agreed to that no contest, meaning he still did not take responsibility for her demise, for taking the life of a 13-year-old Madeline Sophia. Right. I can't. Hey, Heel. Wow. I can't believe that they knew he was going to enter a plea of no contest, and for that, even though it was going to be no contest, they still took that death penalty off the table. Both the defendant and state understand that a sentence of death could not be given to the defendant unless there was a conviction for first-degree homicide. And 8-4 jury recommendation for death sentence, and the court would ultimately determine if a death sentence would be pronounced if the jury made a recommendation for a sentence of death. The state and the homicide survivors have the benefit of the certainty of a conviction with a sentence of life in Department of Corrections, as well as the finality of relatively few options for post-conviction relief with a plea agreement. In turn, the defendant knows with certainty that he will not face a sentence of death. I think it's disgusting. The defendant acknowledges that all the documentary and digital evidence, barring unexpected supplemental discovery, has been provided to and reviewed by his team of attorneys. The defendant does not wish for any additional time to review or discuss this evidence with his team of attorneys. The defendant understands that his attorneys may take depositions of all witnesses on the state list, and he is satisfied and in agreement with the decision to not proceed with any additional depositions. The defendant understands, even if he does not wish for his attorney to do so, they are obligated to prepare a mitigation case on his behalf for a potential sentencing phase at his homicide trial. The defendant understands that by accepting this plea agreement, his attorneys will stop working on both defending the guilt phase for a trial on the homicide charge as well as the sentencing phase. The defendant understands that the mitigation presented to the state thus far regarded an incident involving a car striking him as a child. So they definitely were going to enter the mitigating circumstance of the TBI. There's our proof of that. That was his mitigating circumstance. The defendant understands that if he went to trial on either case or both cases, he could appeal any errors he felt the court or the state committed during the trial or trials. However, by entering a plea and waiving his right to appeal the decision on his 3 motions to suppress the evidence, the only issues he can appeal are the legality of his sentence and the jurisdiction of the court over him. The defendant understands that if he successfully moves to withdraw his plea and sentences that, the state's notice of intent to seek the death penalty will be reinstated, and he will proceed to trial on the homicide, facing a potential sentence of death. The state's nolle prosecutus on counts 21 through 60 and the CSAM will be nullified, and he will proceed to trial on all 60 counts in the CSAM. The state will be permitted to file any and all additional charges against him in any county in Florida where such charges may arise regarding any uncharged sexual abuse of the named victims in counts 1 through 20, as well as any additional child pornography charges. See, this is the second time that that's been brought up, and that's weird to me. Like, do they have pictures of him abusing Maddie at his mom's house or something? Or another child? It says the victim, so it's got to be Maddie in any county in Florida. So, like, do they have him abusing her in another county, or am I just looking too much into it? The defendant understands that if he successfully finds any post-conviction relief on either or both cases, that all of the conditions outlined in paragraphs 12A, 12B, and 12C, so that's right here, A, B, and C, either on, 12A, 12B, and 12C will apply at the state's discretion, and it was signed. Oh, that's right, Hannah. Him and Jen lived at Northport at some point, not with his parents. Yep, that's probably what it was. Yep. Oh, somebody became a member. Carolina, thank you for becoming a member. And Teresa Clay had been a member for 4 months. Thank you so much for sharing that milestone. Teresa dropped our Maddie emoji and said, "Fly high, Maddie, rest in peace." Thank you so much for sharing that with us today. That was so very sweet of you. And thank you for being a member for 4 months. Carolina just became a member. Thank you so much for that. I will grab the crazy train and pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much, Carolina. Thank you, Carolina. Yeah, they did live in that apartment, and that could be what it's about. I'm sure that Stephen had a long list of excuses of why he wasn't actually responsible. He abused Maddie in more than one place, in my opinion. Nothing was sacred to him. I think that's exactly what it was. I really do. As a 22-year-old stepmom, we were given custody of my 13-year-old bonus daughter. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. He gave her quarters. I'm so sorry, Ann. I didn't mean to highlight that. I'm sorry. I should be reading comments before I highlight them. I apologize about that. I'm glad that everything was okay, and I hope that she got the help that she needed. And I'm glad that you were there. I too have bonus children, as well as my biological children, and they are the light of my life. Very blessed to have such a wonderful wonderful big family. I know we talked about that. Reap what you sow. It's good to see you. Yeah, we played the Crazy Train in memory of him, and we've been playing that one since I found out that he passed on in memory of him. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Hopefully she can get the help she needs. Hio, what did you say? Grandma's getting stronger every day. That's awesome. I need to talk to you because I just got a phone call. Not about the I'll talk to you about it. Okay. I don't remember which one that we were at. I know we were past this one. Oh yeah, we were listening. We had talked about the last one was about Jen and the TBI. Jen was the best friend until she made the move on me. I think we would have been better off staying friends. We read that one. So hold on, my computer's being slow. Well, is that the last one? Okay. Going through the motions. That advice? Okay, yeah, this is the last one we read because this is the one where he's talking about I was completely unable to walk for a month after I got hit by the truck. I became angry, withdrawn, impulsive, and my grades suffered. My small motor functions were affected. I had trouble fitting in and getting along with kids. I had nightmares. The accident had given me a TBI. Y'all remember that? Lord have mercy. Okay. So, let me see what I said. We're at 5, maybe 3. Sorry, y'all. I should have done this beforehand. I've had so much real life stuff going on that it's just crazy. I know what you mean. Okay. We'll start here. I sent this on Saturday, May 3rd at 9:43 p.m. I said, "Hi, hope all is as good as it can be. I know what you mean about not liking something and then get cravings for it. I'm definitely going to try them. Still craving mangoes, by the way. I know what tahini is. I've bought it before and I like it very much. Sounds like mental health issues there are rampant and that really sucks. Yeah, males would show us females their junk when we walk by sometimes. Yeah, we read that. Okay, talking about the females would get naked and get up under their blankets for the guards and things. Okay, so we'll start here. Thursday, May 8th at 10:02, I said, "Hey, oh my goodness, I've had a headache for days. My goodness, it's annoying. I hope all is well. Prison system does need a lot of reform. This might be a voice text due to the headache. I'm pretty sure System of a Down made a song about how our prison system desperately needs reform, and it does suck that your crimes follow you throughout your life. I'm glad that his crimes are going to follow him throughout his life. But again, I'm just trying to keep him talking. I mean, I understand, like, I get that sometimes people need to know what crimes others have committed, but I still think there should be a chance for you to have a decent life even after jail. I know you can get things expunged and all that, but I don't know. I kind of feel like when your debt is paid to society, that should be it, except for some crimes. Like, obviously, I don't want, like, I don't know, someone who beats women to be working in a safe house or something like that. You know what I mean? I remember voice texting this and I was like, except for some crimes, like if you hurt kids, and then I had to say, wait a minute, I had to back it up and be like, damn, I can't say that because they'll stop talking to me. Yeah, the hospital had no records. Or he didn't even stay overnight. Women guards would be laughing their asses off after seeing Stearns drunk. Yeah, they would flash you in a minute, though, especially the male trustees. Aw, Carolina, that's so sweet. Thank you. Lisa is me. Good to see you. I'm just glad. Crackerjack's good to see you. I'm just glad we have to never look. Okay, I'm just glad we never have to look at the sleeping bag again or listen to his whiny voice. It's so bad that he was permitted to speak about Maddie and have the last word yesterday. Wasn't done for family. It's sick. Ozzy did have quite the life. All right. Be working in a safe house or something like that. You know what I mean? I kind of get that kind of stuff, but you should be able to expunge your record regardless. And sometimes actually, I think all the time, like you can just be charged with something and not convicted, and it shows up that you were charged with it. So, like, if your friend gets mad at you and says that, oh, he stole something from me, but then you guys work things out and he goes to court and he's like, yeah, this person didn't steal anything from me. I kind of lied, so I want to drop the charges. That charge would still be on your record. And then what do you do? Because you look like you're a larcenist. That I do believe if you get charged with something, it shows up that you were charged with it and not convicted, and they're supposed to not hold that against you, but a lot of places do when you're trying to get a job. I said, I don't drink much alcohol, but I do like that spice to hen and would pour some in my hand and just lick it out of the palm of my hand. My kids had me doing that one day. I'm definitely going to try it on some ice cream. Oh, a boiled egg, that would probably be good too. From what I found out about Jen, I could definitely see how she seems to be very much zoned out. If I had to guess, I could definitely see her being one of the people that would scroll through the phones and just kind of zone out. Kind of sucks when you're like friends, but then you drift apart. And I definitely get like staying somewhere because you are better at other things that maybe that person's not as strong at. I don't know though, considering the outcome so far, it definitely seems like a bad decision. But I understand feeling the need to stick around. And for sure, she definitely seems like someone who needed some help. And I have a feeling that she stays on her medication to get disability, but I don't know. Now, here we know that he stayed around so that he could abuse Maddie. Like we know. Nuh-uh. You did. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat, Hio. I really appreciate that. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. Hio said, thank you so much for thinking of me, loves. I appreciate you all. Jessica, love your face. I love you too, Hio. I'm going to call you later. That was so sweet. Thank you, Hio. Amanda said, as an 18-year-old had a mid and forgot about all these years, but it still popped up on a job background check. Yeah, see? It's crazy how that happens. Okay, here, we know he stuck around so he could abuse Maddie, but I couldn't say that, obviously, or he'd stop talking to me. And at this point, I'm trying to get the story. I said, I don't do the pharmaceuticals and things like that. I don't do the pharmaceuticals and things like that. I think she would be better off mentally if she would get off that medication and like maybe just get a job. I mean, I know it sucks. Nobody wants to go to work, but it's all something we all have to do. Definitely not a statement he could relate to. I think I was in school mostly a loner. I definitely like to be alone in my room and just listen to music and draw and make things. Excuse me. I would be social with some people, but not very many. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that when you got hit, you weren't able to walk for a month afterwards, feeding his ego. Like, you mean to tell me they didn't even keep him overnight for the TBI, but he couldn't even walk for a month? I know, right? And wait till the parents find out he can't take all those books with him, and they will need to buy them again. Yep. All those books. You too, I said what I said. Have a good day, love. I've heard that you had a TBI from it, and yeah, back then there wasn't much research or information about it. I've studied TBIs a little bit and the way it can change the frontal lobe in people and make them have more primal, less empathetic, and more angry personality. If you look at the statistics of like serial killers and TBIs, there is a correlation. Listening to you tell me about the food, yeah, those sound good. I do remember those. I did like the grits we would get, grits and the powdered eggs that were like scrambled eggs. I do like those. I remember the ham you're talking about and the biscuit, That was okay, but I wasn't really into the meat. The cinnamon cakes, I like them a lot. And there was like this taco thing we got, and it was like a stale taco shell that was shaped just like a regular tortilla. And I liked that with the beans, but not many people did. I guess I was weird talking about gel food. I can't remember a whole lot of them. I actually like the hot dogs there, and I don't eat hot dogs. Like, I hate hot dogs, but when we would get hot dogs, it was halfway decent. Um, yeah, and they would cut the hot dogs into little slices. Like, y'all can figure out why. You know, my favorite things were to order from the commissary. My favorite things to order from the commissary were the Jolly Ranchers and peanut butter. I would actually order peanut butter snacks from the commissary, and they would let us get sodas once a week. I remember making that. Oh, I always did that and made sure to have coffee. They had this cornflake candy, and it was like cornflakes with, like, I guess, corn syrup and peanut butter. I would get that, and I've actually made that. I remember making that one day after I got out. Like, I looked up online and got the recipe for it and made it, and it was good. I would get Reese's because white chocolate Reese's were my favorite, but I don't think they had white chocolate, so I would get regular Reese's and just try to make them last. Nutty bars they had, the Nutty Bar 3-pack, anything with peanut butter, I really loved. And I like peanut butter on the trays that we would get, the little packets with the bread to make peanut butter sandwiches. I like that. I would get lots of peanut butter and would just eat it. Even now, I will take peanut butter in a pan and like put it on the lowest heat possible, and I'll melt it and drizzle it over ice cream. I know they make this stuff called Reese's shell or something at the store, but I eat it like that. I will also take a spoonful of peanut butter, like halfway full, and eat it with vanilla ice cream. I don't know. I've just always loved peanut butter. Peanut butter is my jam. I kind of wondered for a while, did you ever like race cars growing up? And can you tell me about the stabbing situation? Is that true, or is it just a rumor? I mean, I've heard about the roommate thing, but I've also heard that legitimately was a rumor. But there's something about like you got in a fight with somebody and somebody got stabbed and y'all moved. I don't know if it's true. I hope I'm not crossing any boundaries. I just wanted to know if it was what the story was behind it. Kind of. Did you go to beaches in California, and did you like them better than Florida? I can't think of any more questions right now. I'm going to work on figuring out some more and try to email you back. Until then, if I hear from you, that will be great. If not, I will send you another email soon. Hope you have a good day. So I'm trying to ask him questions. Did his mother say that he had to use a walker, Donna? Really? That's interesting. If she did, I had never heard that. I thought that, I mean, it probably is a line of bullshit, but I thought that was just a line of bullshit he fed me. Okay, so this one would be the next one after the 8th. It's on the 13th. Tuesday, May 13th at 9:58 p.m. He said, "Hey, sorry, I got the message and didn't respond right away, and then ADD kicked in and my brain chased a squirrel. And then I spent the next few days basically sleeping all day because it's been raining a lot and I'm kind of depressed right now. So I spent like 3 days laying in bed, sleeping constantly, and even the COs were asking if I was okay since I seemed out of sorts." Now here, it's like, okay, this is May. And as you can tell, it's kind of getting like we don't have anything to talk about really, okay? Um, so I'm just kind of trying to keep him talking, and he's not responding very quickly. His response is short. So I'm going to try to start. I'm sure at this point when we continue reading, you'll see that I try to kind of talk about things or keep him interested in talking to me. Like I've got to keep him interested, and at this point I feel like he's losing interest. And again, my objective is to get the story. Indy said, "No, Florida beaches are far superior to California beaches in my opinion." Call me by my government name. You should check back with him in a few months on that stabbing thing. You think he'll have a new story? Thought she was just trying to give him sympathy. Who? Me? Maybe. He shouldn't have been allowed to give that statement. I'm sure he did all he could to exaggerate illnesses just so his parents could continue to take care of him. I agree with that, Abraham. He probably did. Plus, it gets you day distracted and not being okay. I'm gonna click back on the other page. I'm a meme girl. Good to see you. Jen wasn't there for her daughter's birthday on the last day of her life and now not showing up for the hearing. I think she's the one who told him to do away with Maddie. Do you? Lord knows I hope not. I hope not. But if she is, I hope that charges are on the way because the CSAM took place prior to the law going into effect. Really? I didn't know that. Lisa, I don't know. Do I have sound, y'all? Can y'all hear me? Okay, Vero can hear me. I told Lisa to go out and come back in. Okay. All right. So, even the COs were asking if I was okay because I seemed out of sorts. Anyway, not trying to excuse anything, just explaining what happened there. I don't know. He might be interested in talking because he's like not trying to excuse not responding to you, just explaining what happened. So, yes, I did apparently have a piece of mail sent to me. Oh, that's the Jennifer Potato Soto. So, wait a minute. I might have emailed him back. Okay, I'll have to explain that to y'all. Oh, okay. Yep. So I sent him this on May 13th that morning, Tuesday, May 13th at 9:53 a.m. Okay, now you got to understand at this time period, there was a piece of mail sent to him and it said that it was from Jennifer Potato Soto. That email has since been dropped. But I asked about it. I need to see where we saw that at. I said, hey, this is just a quick message before I head out the door. I sent you a message on May 8th, and I also want to let you know there's a girl online dropping emails, said that one of them's from somebody that wrote you, and she called Jen a potato of some sort. I don't know. I haven't watched it all. And then your parents are giving the emails to a YouTube creator called Guilty of Crime, and she was reading through it and says she's talking to your parents. I don't know if she is or not, but I just wanted you to be aware. Anyways, if you get this, let me know or write me back. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so it might have been GOC that dropped the Jen Potato Soto, or I might have been talking about Alex Erickson. I will let me see if I can find it real quick. And then I was like, honestly, I didn't think. I'm checking Alex Erickson real quick to see because I think she had the Jen Potato Soda one. So May, like 2 months ago, it would be alive. I think it's that one. Stephen Stern's new messages from jail responding to one of you. I think that's the Jen Potato Soda.
No, he doesn't. I listen to multiple podcasts and news channels.
Let me see.
They flag it if there's something inappropriate. So that's one thing, which is fine. But the problem is that you like kind of you have to think about is when your video is flagged, YouTube won't push it out to as many people. But I think it's really important to just use the words for what they are.
So I just linked Alex Erickson. And that video, if you guys want to check it out, that could be the Jen Potato Soda one, or it could be one from just somebody else because there were several emails dropped where people were emailing him. It could be on Guilty of Crime. Out of respect, I will drop that link as well. And I'm wondering, I every time I go to say this, I start typing. So I'm asking him about saying, oh, Lord have mercy, hold on. I'm asking him, is his mother, does he know that his mother is talking to a YouTuber? Because I myself am trying to figure out if she's really talking to Chris and Deborah Stearns. That's the truth of that situation. Here is Guilty of Crimes link. You can subscribe if you want to. But again, we're talking about the Jim Potato Soto email. Allegedly, at that time, it was said that he didn't read it. He asked his mother about it, and his mother said it was disgusting, and he didn't need to know what it said. And then Guilty of Crime is saying that they're talking to his parents, and I'm curious as to whether it is true or not. So I'm asking him if he knows anything about it. This was May 13th at 9:53 a.m. Now we'll go back to the one I was reading that he sent back. So that's where Guilty of Crime comes in. Okay. So I'll start at the second sentence. So yes, I did apparently have a piece of mail sent to me labeled as being from, quote, Jennifer Potato Soto, unquote. I was not able to see what it said because the facility rejected it as having inappropriate content. But I guess it still gets released to the public so everyone but me can see what it says. My mom mentioned that she saw a snippet of it and it was pretty vile. But again, I have no clue as I didn't see it. Do you suppose you could boil it down for me whenever you finished going through that stuff? So he knows at this point that I'm like, he doesn't know that I'm a YouTube creator, but he knows that I'm paying attention to things online and what people are saying and things that are being released. Must not be in my culture. I have pain tolerance second to none. I bet you do, Tom, especially being a coal miner. My husband is a miner, not a coal miner, but he worked like MSHA and all that comes to his job. So he's technically a miner. M-I-N-E-R, not M-I-N-O-R. Okay, he said, yes, I guess my parents are or have been talking to some YouTuber. I am aware of that, though I don't know if I approve or not. I don't know what my parents are saying to this person, and they are not exactly savvy when it comes to the concept of legal defense. So I'm hoping they are not being foolish and saying things that will aggravate my case. But I think that they are tired of the rumors and the bullshit flying around, especially the stuff aimed at them. So I guess they are trying to clear the air about themselves, but I don't know whether or not that helps me at all. I find that interesting that he's a little bit nervous about them talking to Guilty of Crime. Really, Simone? That's a hard job. I stitched my own finger about a week ago. Wasn't too bad. That's crazy, Tom. You are something else, Tom. He says, my TBI certainly made me an angry person for a long time, but never less empathetic. I'm actually a deeply empathetic person and always have been. I tune into the emotions of those around me and absorb it, and I can easily see things from other people's points of view. Really? Like, really? If we could see things from other people's points of view, I don't understand how he abused Maddie for so long. Did he not think about how she viewed things, how she felt? I could say that for so much, so many times. I genuinely try to see things from other people's points of view, and if I don't agree, I still respect them. That's why our chat is open to people who agree or disagree. Oh Lord, what's wrong? I saw a NC meme on Facebook. I live in NC, and it says half of NC looks like it should be on a Hallmark card. The other half looks like it should be on a Dateline episode. That is very true. I live in North Carolina too. Yeah, the mountains and stuff and parts of the beach look like they should be on a Hallmark card, and then there's other parts that's like, I don't know about that. He didn't think it was wrong. He didn't, Indy. Keep that girl in your thoughts and prayers. She's been going through a lot of life struggles. Thank you for saying that, Carolina. I've been worried about her. I think he's saying that referring to Jen. That's why he doesn't tell on her, in my opinion. You think so? That's a good theory. Becky P, hey, love. All right, he said, I will have to send a better reply tomorrow. The tablet system is going offline for the night in just a few minutes, so I'll have to get the other stuff from your messages tomorrow. Talk to you later. This was May 13th at 9:58 p.m. The next message is the 15th, so let me see if I sent him anything. No, I sent the one on the 13th, which was the real short one. Yeah, so he replied twice. Let's go back to that one. 15th. Oh, Lordy Jesus. Okay. This is Thursday, May 15th at 8:35 p.m. This is Stearns talking to me. Simone, says Stearns has no empathy. Most narcissistic people can't feel anything of empathy towards others, but they are very selfish. I agree. Southern said both North Carolina and South Carolina. Yep. That's just legalities. He won't ever walk out. Yes. Steph, good to see you, love. Yeah, because he told his mother when she was asking about Jen, he said, no, Remind us how old he was when he had the TBI. I think 12. Or the documents that we were able to pull on it talking about the civil suit or the lawsuit that they had. I think he was 12. One of those. If he was 12 while the court case was going on, he might have been 11. 11 or 12. Oh, thank you, Steph. I appreciate you watching the videos. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to put out a video going over that plea agreement. I can't even imagine the shit Stearns never got caught doing. I can't either. I think his parents were very hands off. All right. So he says, hey, okay, finally have the tablet early here, and I can kind of take my time to respond to your previous message. Yeah, you're kind of right on the mark with Jen. She is extremely bipolar, which was its own set of problems. But she also had AOME trauma. Some trauma in her history, which I will not detail because that's her business, really. But it left her in a mental space where she would refuse to leave the house by herself or even at all if it was something she could just have me go do instead. Her anxiety was crippling. She would spend all day in bed kind of doom scrolling on her phone, and it was extremely frustrating for everyone around her at times, especially for myself and her daughter. So he did mention Maddie there. She had a problem with accountability and never really. She had a problem with accountability and never admitting when she was wrong. Any problem involving her was a quote, you problem, and not a her problem, mixed with this kind of perpetual victim mentality. Can y'all believe that he said that? I'm going to read that one more time. Lord, that's a run-on sentence. Okay. Okay, she had trauma in her history, which I will not detail, but it left her in a mental space where she would refuse to leave the house by herself or even at all if it was something she could go have me go do instead. Her anxiety was crippling. She would spend all day in bed kind of doom scrolling on her phone, and it was extremely frustrating for everyone around her at times, especially for myself and her daughter, Madeline. She had a problem with accountability and never admitting when she was wrong. Any problem involving her was a you problem and not a her problem, mixed with this kind of perpetual victim mentality. I mean, I think that, yeah, the hypocrisy is strong with this one. Thank you, Hannah UK. When he said that he had been SA and Maddie for 4 years, she looked genuinely in shock. And he said at least he couldn't handle it. I know you're talking about the trauma that she went through. She had a problem with accountability. Oh, wow, said Lisa. Stephen Stearns will think he got away with it all. There will be much more, especially his connection to Kissimmee CSAM ring. I was wondering if he's connected to that. I've been wondering that. Cuff you. Happy belated birthday, love. I didn't even see you come in. Admitting she was wrong is the pot calling the kettle black. I agree. Yep, exactly, Tom. Saying no contest is kind of not taking accountability. Exactly. Cuffy says Jen needs to be in prison. I cannot believe she was not there. She was innocent. Silence speaks louder than words. It does. It does. I can't believe she wasn't there either. I bet in his mind by taking the plea deal, that was justifiable. He had to come clean to Jen that morning. He unalived her, in my opinion. Of course he is. Jen is too. Yep. Happy belated birthday, Cuffy. Okay, continuing. And I get it. She had a traumatic event. And on top of her existing mental health stuff, it was not a great mix. But most people, when they get therapy and start confronting that stuff, will take steps to move forward and not necessarily, quote, get over it, unquote, but at least learn to cope and try to live with their lives despite it. But she always has this attitude where she is just at the mercy of the things in her life and uses them as a crutch to a point that it becomes frustrating. I understand trauma. I've had a lot of it. If you understand trauma, sir, why did you dump so much trauma onto Maddie? He says, I've been through a lot of crap and have a nice big pile of PTSD to show for it. Oh my God. But I've never thrown my hands up in the air and used that as an excuse to just give up trying. Really? Really? Because like you couldn't even hold down a job when it was handed to you from your father. Master manipulator. Exactly, Tom. Even when I was at my deepest and worst depression and wasn't working for a while, I always knew and told myself that it was temporary and I would pull out of that nosedive and get back in the game at some point. I hate feeling useless and without any purpose. Whereas she will calculate exactly the limit of how much she can earn on the side while still keeping her disability. Who didn't see that coming? Haven't we talked about that with Jen, especially the job at Disney? Like she would quit her job. I think, to be fair, Deb even said that she would get a job and then quit so she could keep her disability if there was too much money coming in to where it would affect her disability. But yeah, the whole PTSD, I gotta, I want one so bad, Teresa, but I'm trying not to smoke while I'm live anymore. I got a vape. That's what I choked on earlier. I took a drink and did this vape and I choked to damn death. He is a malignant narcissist. He is. He definitely is. His big old pile of PTSD, not even thinking about the trauma he put Maddie through. Hold on, y'all. Sorry, I got to check my phone. Okay. I have recently found out or heard a lot of other stuff about Jen that I hadn't even known, like her apparently defrauding the government to the tune of around $80,000, which, considering that her mom does insurance and tax work on the side, seems quite possible. And about how she had a GoFundMe for her daughter's funeral that earned around $60,000 to $70,000, but her daughter was cremated and she used that money to hire a lawyer and use for various other personal uses from what I've heard. Did y'all know that Jen had a GoFundMe for Maddie and her death for the funeral? Yeah, Cuffy, these emails were written between me and Stephen Stearns. This one is from May. He says, I don't know what all the situation is regarding her right now, only the small bits that my parents pass along to me from what they are seeing on YouTube. What sort of stuff are you hearing or seeing? I am in an information desert in here. So, yeah, there are a lot of wild ass rumors flying around about me, and I will say most of them are absolute bullshit being spread by people who are looking to capitalize on the media circus that surrounds the case. The stabbing incident, however, did occur. It was in self-defense, and I was cleared of any wrongdoing by the detectives at the time, and there were plenty of witnesses to that. My family did not move because of that. We moved 2 years later because the real estate, market in Southern California kind of took a dump around that time, and my dad followed the market down to Florida. Regarding the incident itself, I was 16 at the time. I was walking with two of my close friends, one male and one female, and we were walking to my female friend's house at the time. As we were walking across a crosswalk, we heard some guys start catcalling her and talking about her ass and saying some lewd stuff. She was 15 at the time. These guys were in a mini pickup truck with like a lot of painting stuff and construction gear in the back of it. So they were likely some house painters or construction guys coming off the job site. Well, they were catcalling us, being teenagers. We flipped them off and continued on our way. Next thing we knew, this truck with 30 something dudes in it squeals around into the parking lot of the shopping center where we were walking past, and this guy jumps out and makes a beeline straight for me. And this dude was on some stuff. You could see it in his eyes, and you could smell the alcohol on him. This was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and this 35-year-old guy is about a six-pack deep and tweaked out on something else on top of that. His eyes were wide and wild, and he was like a locomotive coming at you. You could have kicked this guy in the balls a few times, and it would not have fazed him, basically. Anyway, he makes a beeline for me. He is 35, maybe about 6'4" or 6'5". We got a Rex Heuermann over here, y'all. Rex Heuermann in California going after Stefan. Snarks at him so fast and quick that it's like something she did all the time. Just one person saying it. Difference is they get closure and not years of appeals and court appearances to relive it all over again. Yeah. Yep. That's one of my favorite sayings. You couldn't fight your way out of a wet paper bag. And I don't think he could. That COVID money thing, yeah, I think it's been debunked for Jen, but I'm not positive. Okay, so we got mini Rex Heuermann over here. That's about 6'4" or 6'5", and tweaked out. Grabs me by the shirt and is yelling at me and demanding to know what my problem was, which I would have thought was obvious, while his two buddies were there backing him up. I was struggling to get free from him unsuccessfully. I was terrified and worried that my friends were in danger as well. When this guy cocks his fist back to punch me, and then it's like everything went into slow motion. I remember seeing his fist winding up. So, I mean, what is it? Is this like a cartoon? I'm going to see if I can show y'all what I'm talking about. Yeah. This is what's going on, y'all. Hold on. Where is it at?
the sailor.
Running up. Anyways, you get the point. The fist winding up to punch him. That's what's going on in Stefan's mind right now. Here's Stefan as Popeye, and there's that 6'4" man. He's going to wind it up and then just, cock him one good time, evidently. It must have been a rumor. Oh, no, you're good, Lisa. He told his mom everyone lied to him after hearing he didn't think that he was going to receive 21 life without possibility of parole, and that was disappointed about it and asked her how. Yeah, so that's what's going on with Stefan at this point in time in this argument with this guy that he's fighting with because he catcalled his friend, her friend. He catcalled his girlfriend, a female friend. Anyways, he says, I remember seeing his fist winding up, and next thing I knew, it was like my body went into autopilot survival mode. My hand shot out, and then he got this confused look on his face, and we separated. And we both kind of looked at each other like, quote, what happened, unquote. And I looked down, and there was my pocket knife in my hand. I don't remember grabbing it, but he looked down and pulled up his shirt, and there was a good 2 to 3 seconds for us to both see the wound in his chest before blood started gushing out. I was scared shitless at that point, and here's the thing. He was so tweaked out that he was still able to beat the shit out of me. He got up on top of me and was punching me in the back of the head over and over and over, bleeding all over me the whole time. Then his buddies grabbed me in a chokehold and dragged me by the neck while choking me into the parking lot, and then the cops showed up and I had a gun to my head while they searched me. Then the paramedics came and checked me out after taking him off to the hospital, and my heart rate was so high it buried the needle on the cuff, and the paramedics got worried about me potentially having a heart attack or stroke. Perfectly healthy teenage man child is about to have a heart attack and stroke because they're so wound up. Like, I don't believe that. I was also taken to the hospital where detectives spoke with me and later cleared me after getting witness statements and testing the guy and all that. It was legit self-defense. He was out of his mind on drugs and had multiple people with him ganging up on a 16-year-old kid after hitting on a 15-year-old girl. That incident really messed me up. I couldn't leave the house for almost a week because I was having panic attacks anytime I stepped outside. Nightmares. I had been covered in his blood, and it took a lot of effort to wash that out of my hair and from under my fingernails. It was extremely traumatic. Like, do you guys hear that? When he said blood under his fingernails, I'm thinking about somebody else who had blood under their fingernails named Maddie. But like, I mean, this is my trauma. He's like, it was so traumatic. I was so upset. I almost had a heart attack after I damn near stabbed this guy to death. Yeah, drama queen. Exactly. Exactly, Vera. He says, and it's one of the many sources of my own PTSD now. I really don't like hurting people. I don't like fighting. I avoid it at all costs whenever possible, and it was a terrible experience for me. And this happened next to a Starbucks, and kids from like 3 different schools witnessed it. So, of course, that quickly became a big story in every school in the area, and people knew me because of it. It was in the newspapers. That followed me around for a while. That's probably why to this day I hate fighting and I hate the thought of hurting anyone. So again, trying to prove his innocence, in a roundabout way, talking about he hates hurting anybody or fighting with anybody. I would love to know if we could find newspaper clippings from that in that area in California. I think it's interesting that he says that, there was kids from 3 different schools. That makes me think he might have been trying to show off, but I do legitimately wonder if it would be in the newspapers from that time, like he said it was. I remember when I read that, thinking that and thinking I did need to look up, see if it was in the newspapers. Thank you, Lisa Lynn, for breaking out the world's tiniest violin and playing My Heart Bleeds for You, for him. Donna said, we all know who she would talk to. I don't believe Deb will tell the truth. I don't either. Cuff, you said, bless his little pedo heart. I wonder how Maddie felt. You food chat, and he does not like hurting people. Yeah, bullshit. And dude, you are famous for all the wrong reasons now, pervert. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know where he was in Cali, but that's interesting. He manipulated everyone in his life and thought you were as stupid as everyone he's been fooling. He's so wrong. He did. But I knew that he was trying to manipulate me. And it was interesting reading these emails and getting these stories. He continues, I'm confused about the wording of the car question. Are you asking if I like race cars or if I personally did race any cars growing up? Beaches in Cali were better, in my opinion, only because the Pacific Ocean is better, in my opinion. Cold blue water, great waves, and the beachside towns were better too. Driving down the PCH, aka the 101, is always a great way to spend the afternoon. My favorite places were Laguna Beach. I lived about 15 to 20 minutes inland from it. Newport Beach, body surfing by the pier, eating at Charlie's Chili to warm up afterwards, and watching people get wrecked by the wedge. LOL. Oh, he said LOL. And watching people get wrecked by the wedge.
Gosh, something wrong here.
And Crystal Cove Park was great too. The thing is, when you can easily skip school and spend the day at Laguna Beach, you do, and we did. Those are fond memories. The water was so cold you could only swim for about 30 to 40 minutes before your muscles start freezing and seizing up, and you got to go warm up in the sun and sand, or walk around the town and cruise in and out of the shops, or hit some restaurants to get your grub on. I visited Catalina Island and it was a great place too. Good times, highly recommend it. Do you like going to the beach? I don't know how they are in North Carolina, but I've seen a beach or two in South Carolina and they seemed nice enough. Though no Anna Maria Island, but it's a uniquely lovely place. LOL.
Yeah, yeah, gosh.
Yep, Goofin. That's his name. Tom said, "What muscles?" Exactly. I cringe imagining children walk through that line at Disney World next to Stearns. Oh, that is scary. And he had this weird obsession with Disney. I don't know, man. It's weird. He said, "I know one thing I liked about South Carolina is Firefly. LOL. I won't do it again." What sort of things do people do up there in North Carolina anyway? I have almost no experience with North Carolina. I spent some time there when I was very little because we had some family there, but I don't remember much of it. Just bits and pieces of running around on a farm. Tell me a little about it. Hope to hear back soon. That was the 15th. I wrote back on the 17th. And that's where we're at. This was a long one. So this one's longer because, like I said, I had noticed that he was like kind of losing interest. So I made it a long one to try to keep his interest. This is Saturday, May 17th at 1:24 p.m. I said, "Hey, I'm going to voice text as I don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to make sure I got back to you." So, yeah, whatever the message said from Potato Soto. So, this one, I voice texted this right before a live. This is the one I did right before a live, and it was sent at 1:24. So, I voice text this probably in about like 3 or 5 minutes. You almost cut your hand. Oh my goodness, Amanda, be careful. He does look like a barrel. It's okay. You just remember what's convenient. Drama queen. Abraham said, I'm confused about your greasy, non-bathing self. Haha. I couldn't see Stephen Stearns surfing ocean waves. Best waves are in Fiji. I would love to go in Fiji. Go to Fiji. And no, I don't think that he would surf in a damn thing, but he would probably say he was because he gets to be whoever he wants to be in these emails. North Carolina is military, so is South Carolina. I went to Paris Island for Marine Corps boot camp. Well, thank you for your service, Simone. Yeah, there's a lot of military here. I live in North Carolina, but not near. I used to live really close to Fort Bragg, but they renamed it. Okay. Saturday, May 17th, 1:24 p.m. Hey, I'm going to voice text this as I don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to make sure I got back to you. So, yeah, whatever the message said from Potato Soto is supposedly online. I don't watch those videos because I really wasn't sure if they were even talking to your parents. And, like, I don't know. It just didn't really interest me. But I will most certainly watch the video and try to tell you what it said. I'm sorry you've been depressed. I know when it rains, I sleep a lot too. I love the rain. I love to sleep when it's raining. And suppose I'll actually start watching the videos where she says she's talking to your parents, although I don't know. I suppose I'll keep my thoughts to myself on that whole situation. Let us hope that they're not saying anything that'll aggravate your case. I mean, the thing that I'm concerned about is getting caught up and having to go to court. So if they say things that could aggravate the case, then she could be called into court. And I don't think she lives anywhere near Florida. So I don't know. You have to be very careful about those types of things because you'll end up getting called to testify in court. And your dad seems pretty smart. So hopefully he's not letting your mama lay everything out on the line like that. I hope that they wouldn't do anything to jeopardize your case. I mean, I'm sure they know better, but who knows? I will watch the videos too and try to give you some breakdowns of what's being said just to make sure because like I said, I don't even watch them. And again, this is a voice text. So if it's weird, that's why. I get them being upset about the rumors and bullshit flying around. Hold on a minute. Okay, sorry. My chitlins were calling me. Disney's year pass will probably drop significantly. You think so? Stearns didn't surf, in my opinion. He barely bathed, according to his own admissions. That's a good point, Rhonda. Especially, I continued, especially the stuff aimed at them, like you're saying, and trying to clear the air. But people have made up their minds, so I don't know that it'll change anything. You know what I mean? Like, people who think horrible things about them are probably always going to think horrible things about them. And I don't know that there's anything they could do to change it. I think I'm empathetic too. I take a lot of people's emotions onto myself as well and could easily see things from others' points of view. Okay, I'm now going to read through the second email and respond to that. Yeah, the bipolar thing, I'm bipolar from time to time. Well, I guess I'm bipolar, but I take essential oils. I don't do pharmaceuticals for that. And unfortunately, a lot of women have trauma. I don't know. She's spoken about it in some of the interviews, and that's a hard thing. But I don't know. I think withdrawing into yourself where you don't even live life and can't even leave the house by yourself is just a bit much. Like, eventually, you just got to go out and face the world and try to deal with the anxiety. But, I understand and respect that some people's anxiety is worse than others. The spending all day in a kind of doom scrolling on her phone, I definitely get it being extremely frustrating because essentially she's shutting everybody off around her and just crawling into this dark hole of depression. The worst thing you can do is scroll on your phone because a lot of people portray things as it's just, that their life is bright pink rainbows and unicorns and butterflies and all the moon and the stars and all the things. But when that phone is not on recording shorts or videos, it's a completely different story. And then people being upset and sad, depressed, looking at that saying, wow, they have a great life. Look at how wonderful their life is. Look how happy their family is. And you get depressed. Why can't I be like that? Why can't my family be like that? Why can't I look like that? Why can't I have those nice things? But in reality, they don't have all those nice things and they don't have all these. Everybody has issues and problems. I don't know, but it's hard for people to realize that. And you just get into a worse headspace doing stuff like that. I can't stand when people won't admit they're wrong. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. I have no problem admitting I'm wrong sometimes. If people will tell me I'm wrong, and once I understand the reason that I was wrong, I apologize for it. I don't I'll never understand people not understanding or being able to admit that they're wrong sometimes because nobody has it all figured out. Nobody is that smart. Everybody messes up from time to time. Like, I never understood not being able to admit that you're wrong and the perpetual victim mentality. I can't stand that either. A lot of my life I've had to rely on just myself. So it's like, you know, if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. So you make yourself everybody's. When you have that type of mentality, like, the best way to get over it is to just, get over it. I don't know. I mean, I'm being just too harsh, but like, I never had time to be a victim. I always had shit to do. Like, and if I didn't, nobody else was going to do it. So it was me or nobody, and the shit won't going to get done. So, I had to leap over that bridge real quick. Like, see, I'm reading your email and voice responding. So again, this email is probably going to be weird and all of that. Again, I apologize, but I don't know, maybe I'm just harsh. Everybody has mental health issues, and a lot of women have had trauma. A lot of men have had trauma for that matter, and anxiety and PTSD and all of that. Everybody still goes out and has a job and does what they have to do every single day for their family. Like, I don't have no sympathy for that bullshit. I have no sympathy for perpetual victims who can't just get out and get shit taken care of. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bitch. Laugh out loud. I once heard this quote and I really loved it. What the quote was is that what other people think of me is none of my business. And it's true. What other people think of me is absolutely none of my business. And if somebody thinks negatively of me, I'm not going to be able to change it more than likely. So why am I going to dwell on it and just drive myself into a deep depression because of what somebody else thinks of me? I will roll out of bed in pajamas and unbrushed hair and go to the store. I do not care. I don't care what people think of me. I just don't. It's not my business. You can think what you want to of me unless you know me. I don't care what your opinion is. Like, once you know me as a person, you tell me things that you don't like about me or something like that, then maybe it is something I'm doing wrong. I do need to change a few things in my life, but other than that, it's none of my business what people think of me. So I just keep it moving. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just a bitch. You can't let your past make you give up on everything. I'm glad you realize that everything is just temporary and you can pull yourself out of it. There's some kind of quote, I can't remember, but your past is in the rearview mirror and you look forward and not in the past. You know what I mean? Yeah, feeling useless and without purpose means you are useless and without purpose. So unless you want to be that way for your whole entire life, you have to kind of move past it. But again, I don't know, maybe I'm just a bitch. And yeah, I've noticed her interviews that she was kind of calculating exactly how much she can make while keeping her disability, because deep inside, she didn't want to work, in my opinion, but she needed extra money. So she would go and work and calculate exactly how many hours she can work while keeping the disability, because the disability means she gets to sit at home and sleep and do all of those things. But with disability comes all the pharmaceuticals and all the mental health meds that make you lay in bed and sleep your whole entire life away. And you're going to wake up at 80 and slept for 20 years, like, no, thank you, I'm good. Because once you get on disability for mental health, you have to keep taking those medications. And I'm sure people out there have worse issues than I do and absolutely need it. I'm just not. I don't know. I'm not that. I don't have that much PTSD, so maybe she needs it. I don't know. I just have a different outlook on things. I had paperwork on the COVID loans, but I don't know if they're true or not. It appears to be true. It has the same address of the house. Something about a dog business is on there, like a dog walking business during COVID, and supposedly she got quite a bit of money for that through the COVID program, where you got a loan if you had a business or something like that. But I don't know much about that and haven't been able to really verify it. And I've heard about the GoFundMe and the cremation, and that Tyler got half of Maddie's ashes and that she got the other half. Yeah, see, that they gives a lot of people stuff on that. Okay. People put stuff out on YouTube they don't verify, and that's the thing. You have to know what you're watching. You have to know that you're watching the person has verified it. There's 2 children missing in Nova Scotia right now, and people are saying they've been homicided, and that there's all kinds of things that aren't even verified, aren't even true. And they're talking about they lift up a whole entire trailer to look underneath it. I mean, like, you can find some good information on YouTube that is accurate, but your parents have to be careful about what they're looking at and their sources, and know that they can be trusted to pass along what they're hearing if there's no receipts. Like, I'm sure you've been to CVS. If the creator doesn't have a CVS receipt to go along with it, then I don't know. I would put it in the maybe possibly true but need verification of it first pile. You know what I mean? I'm glad you were cleared of everything in the stabbing incident. I'm glad to have verification on that, because I wondered, again, I watch YouTube videos and that was something that I heard, but, could never verify. So I'm glad you told me that it was self-defense. Okay. I'm glad you told me that it was self-defense, and I'm glad you didn't get in trouble for it, since even the detective said it was self-defense. I couldn't tell you how many people I flipped off when I was a teenager, including my assistant principal. I got in-school suspension the first day of 10th grade for flipping off my assistant principal. So yeah, flipping somebody off is just ridiculous. It sounds like they were looking for a reason and they fucked around and got one. Oh, yeah, you're adding substances and alcohol at 4 in the afternoon in this construction truck. Why aren't they at work? What the hell's going on here? Yeah, absolutely not. Sounds like he was definitely tweaking or got that tweaker strength. Oh, wow. It sounds like your adrenaline was pumping. Okay, let me stop right here. I'm reading and responding in real time. I'm chalking it up to deplorable degenerate who cared nothing for anyone but what was in it for him. Yeah, I don't know. I could tell that he was getting to where, like I said, he wasn't real interested in talking. The conversation kind of dropped off and we didn't have much to talk about. So of course I'm like feeding his ego and trying to keep him talking. This is a voice text, so it's weird. Sounds like your adrenaline was pumping, and like you said, you went into autopilot mode. Interesting. I'm glad everybody was okay. And again, I'm reading your email as I'm responding, but I'm reading all of this, and you're saying, I couldn't leave the house for almost a week because I was having panic attacks anytime I stepped outside, nightmares. I had been covered in his blood and took a lot of effort to wash it out of my hair and from under my fingernails. But you say you couldn't leave for almost a week, but you still, even though it was traumatic experience, regained courage and hoping to leave the house. So I don't know. That's really traumatic, and you were able to work past it and continue on with your life. So, I just guess people are different. And I know some traumas are different. So, wow, it even made the newspapers. That's amazing. I'm sure it wasn't the publicity you wanted at the time, but it's really interesting. I don't remember. Yeah, did you race cars? That's probably what I was asking. I used to go to drag races and get in trouble. Not really me. I never raced any of the cars. I rode in a couple, but everybody would get to the strip like blocked off at 1 or 2 in the morning, and everybody would drag race or street race in the streets until the cops came, and then everybody fled. I suppose that's what I was asking if you were doing. I know a lot of people from our generation were into stuff like that. I used to know a guy that was like homeless but lived in Laguna Beach, California. And like he loved it there. He would go from being here where he had everything, like his grandparents were rich or something, and he could live with them. And he would leave here to go be homeless in Laguna Beach, California, because he wanted to be at the beach. Like it was so nice out there. He said being homeless out there is not really like being homeless. And I love the body surf, but I've only been surfing here at these beaches in North Carolina, which, I don't think they got anything on Florida, and I know they don't have anything on Cali. I do really like going to the beach. However, my dream is to have a mountain house where I can sit out on my porch and drink coffee and look out over the mountains. But the good thing about living in North Carolina is that we have mountains and the beach here, and it's nice, but the sand burns your feet in the summer. I do love to body surf the waves, but other than that, I don't know. There's not a lot of seashells to get. I like seashells. I like sand dollars like that. But these beaches, unless a hurricane just came in, they're not. Unless a hurricane just came in, you're not going to get a lot of seashells or a lot of pretty things. The shops and restaurants are nice. When I was younger, we would go to the beaches. I was always broke, so I didn't really have money for that. LOL. So maybe I would have liked it better if I had the money to do all the things. North Carolina is great because the mountains, and then if you drive for about 4 hours, 4.5 hours, you'd be at the beach. That's what I love about it. But there's lots of farms here, produce. Like I was just making apple butter before I came in here and sat down to read the emails. I actually did, and I just got apples today. Make more apple butter. And voice respond. It's also making salves, medicinal herbs, salves, I probably said. But I think, there would be medicinal herbs everywhere depending on what state you would go to. Depending on what herbs are there, the climate is good. I mean, it does get really hot in the summer, but the winters are really cold. I would rather be cold than hot because you can always get warm if you're cold, but you can't cool off if you're hot. If you don't have a good AC, you know what I mean? The only way to cool off is to go swimming in the lake or at the beach or something, and then the wind blows softly in the heat of summer and it'll cool you off a little bit. But you have to get back in about every 30 minutes. Lots of wildlife, but again, I mean, I think that'd be almost every state. I'm hoping I can take a trip to the mountains and get some good apples this summer and to swim in the creeks and things up there. I also like rocks. I do a lot of rock tumbling and things, and I want to go up there and look for rubies. I don't know. I've heard Florida's nice. I think we have the same humidity. I've heard the humidity can be bad. Mosquitoes, I've heard, are bad down there, but I would really like to go visit. I don't think I would like to live there, but I would like to go visit the beaches. So I'm going to go, but I wanted to ask you, what are your goals? I mean, obviously to beat the court case, but other than that, like afterwards, what are your What are your goals and what were your goals before everything happened? I'm going to work on finding out about what the letter said, and I will try to send you an email back with basically the breakdown of what it said. And I'll just send you an email with that breakdown in case they flag it. It won't have a bunch of other stuff in it you might have wanted to read. You know what I mean? Man, I really can't believe about the stabbing incident when your adrenaline kicks in and you got to be really smart for your body to go into autopilot mode like that. It sounds like you were scared. And so it was, again, like you said, survival, fight or flight. Always anyways, have a good night. Hope to hear from you soon. Lord of mercy. That was a long, rambling email. Good Lord in the morning. That's right. All right, we'll read his response unless I sent him one right back. 21st is the one where I break down the potato email. Let me see if he sent me back. Yeah, it's like 5:15. So after this email, yeah, I was just rambling. I was just talking to try to keep him talking. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, y'all. I had to ask my children for something. I'm going to go after I read this email because I do have to get started on dinner. Thank you very, very much. No, he's not trying to bite me. He's just wanting loving. Yep. Okay. So this email is going to be Monday, May 19th, 2025 at 9:56 p.m. He says, Hoya, 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 Hoya. It's funny you mentioned liking the mountains. I also really love seeing mountains and being in the mountains. I've been up to Colorado a few times and that is just beautiful being surrounded by some of the best mountains that there are. That's one thing I miss down here in Florida. There's no mountains. When I lived in Georgia and California, I could always see mountains off in the distance. In California, it was kind of like NC that you could hit the mountains and the beach in the same day. In Cali, it was great because the mountains were 45 minutes to an hour away. You could literally go snowboarding on the mountain in the morning and then hit the beach in the afternoon. Speaking of seashells, Florida has some great seashell hunting, and on Anna Maria Island, the north side by the pier is one of the best places for hunting sand dollars. We would wade out about waist deep and start sliding our toes under the sand at the bottom until you find sand dollars. It was pretty cool. Hunting sand dollars one time, I was kind of just shuffling along, and suddenly, not far off, I saw a fin break in the surface of the water really quick, and I was like, uh-oh, and called out to my friend to slowly and calmly make our way back to shore because bull sharks are a real threat down here. Shark bite capital of the world is New Smyrna Beach. And as we were making our way back in, we saw the fin break the surface again closest to us, and then another and another. And we realized, oh, that's a pod of wild dolphins swimming around us. I'm surprised he didn't take that moment to say it was a damn shark. Hey, Joe. Tom said, Colorado doesn't want you, homie. Yes. Aside Jen didn't just let Maddie be with the people like Yolanda who really loved her all the time. I know, no, it is. Sand dollars are already dead. No hunting sand dollars. So we started lightly tapping the surface of the water to get the dolphins' attention, and one surfaced maybe a couple of yards from me, so that was cool. I agree it's better to be cold than hot. You can always put on more layers when cold, but there's only so much you can remove when it's hot. I don't even want to think about him removing a fucking thing. I have heard about the humidity. I've heard that the humidity can be pretty bad up in the Carolinas. And I know summers in Georgia and Tennessee can be sticky. So I imagine the Carolinas are rough too. Although in Florida it's year round, not always quite high. It's always interesting how tourists will underestimate just how easily the heat and humidity can sneak up on you. And yeah, the mosquitoes are quite thick at times and almost always present year round. It's nice to have a visit for sure, especially Central Florida, because there's so much to do here. Beaches, theme parks, food options, the state parks are great. If you like all that kind of stuff, then living here is fine too. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless. I'd love to go up to the Carolinas and hunt rubies. I've always wanted to do that. I've heard that South Carolina was a good place for that. I didn't know North Carolina was good too. That's definitely a thing I would enjoy and have fun with. I learned how to pan for gold too, and I tried it in Colorado. Well, in order to pan for gold, you have to know how and where to find the gold, which I was not good at. So, no success there. He said, no success there. Laugh out loud.
Gosh, something wrong here.
That Goofy, he's holding the thing that says Orlando, Florida. It's just so perfect. He continues, ruby hunting sounds a bit less back-breaking too. Just take lots of scoops of rocks from stream beds and lakesides anywhere there are mountains nearby and plenty of erosion. See, he's trying to teach me how to fucking ruby hunt, even though he's never done it. Right here, just take scoops of rocks from stream beds and lakesides anywhere there are mountains nearby and plenty of erosion and put them in a tray with a light under it and look for stones you can see the light through, I guess. Maybe that is an overly simple take on the process, but I'm into that sort of stuff for sure. Have you gone ruby hunting before? Goals. Well, yeah, the obvious. But before the case, my goal was to try to work my way up through the ranks at Disney. I loved working there. See, he talks about Disney so freaking much and wanted to try to make it up to management eventually. I was on track to become a trainer and then a coordinator before I decided to leave the company and go work for my dad, and then immediately regretted my decision and missed my old job and my old coworkers. Now my goals are a bit more abstract, maybe. It depends on a few things panning out for me. But if I can get through this in one piece, then I want to just take some time to recover and heal before I worry about anything else. This has been really traumatic and stressful, has made my PTSD so much worse than it was before. Like it's traumatic and stressful on him that Madeline is deceased, y'all. I believe that Maddie was so close to telling either her aunt or grandma or Tyler everything that Stephen was and had done to her. That's sad to think about. Dang, I was way up there. My Aunt Rosie, she kind of likes it, really. When he probably says, I didn't start it. How can Stephen Stern's email all about this? It's so fucking monotonous. Yeah. Just trying to keep him talking. See, the goal was after the cases, the goal was to get the story. I wanted to ask him why he did what he did, but it didn't turn out that way. I felt really nasty and disgusting and was done with it pretty soon after I started, but then it became, get the story, and so I continued to try to get the story, and I'm glad it's over. And I'll never do it again. He continues, my mental health has been severely affected, so I think I would want to leave the state for a little while and go somewhere quiet to chill out. And after that, I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for a while to find gainful employment, So I'll have to figure out how to get back on my feet somehow and just try to heal and recover. This whole situation has taken a real toll on me mentally and physically. I'd like to do a little gardening maybe too. Have my own little pepper patch to grow hot peppers. Make my own pickles and pickled peppers. That'd be interesting. I want to cook more too and have been compiling a list of foods I would like to try or make myself and ingredients I want to try to use more of. I find that I like foods now that I didn't before. I like tomatoes and onions. I used to hate raw tomato and onion, but after about 6 months of the crappy gel food here, most things are better by comparison. I got a hot plate meal with a hamburger that included tomato and onion. I took some bites of tomato and found out that I didn't hate it anymore, and in fact, it tasted good. So basically, my taste has changed, and that has opened up a whole bunch of possibility now for foods that I didn't like before, thanks to shitty gel food. He said, thanks to shitty gel food, LOL.
Gosh.
So that's another goal. Cook more foods, try more foods, see what new things I can experience now. And I really just want to get my life back on the right track and live better and be better. I don't know right now what I could do for income. Things might need time to settle down if I beat these cases, but I have had a few rough ideas or just fanciful notions of things I maybe could do to generate some income or just do something I might enjoy or work with things I like, kind of like how you do your natural remedies. That seems fun and interesting and personally fulfilling. And I kind of want that same kind of fulfillment or enjoyment in what I do, if that makes sense. Do you do any gardening, any cooking? I like cooking and I make a mean cup of tea and also coffee. I'd also love to learn how to brew mead or beer of my own. That'd be really cool. Or learn how to cast things in metal. That is very interesting to me, like casting silver or gold with the lost wax casting method. Are there any other things you are interested in trying or learning? Anyway, I will send this off and hope to hear back soon. So, like you said, Mike, these messages at this point have become kind of monotone. And I'm just trying to keep him talking. All right, so I guess tomorrow we'll start with the potato email. Okay. Yeah, that's talking about the potato email. So we'll come back tomorrow and talk about the potato email. Maybe I can find it or something. I don't know. I do have to go. Yeah, he's an alchemist now. Didn't you know? Didn't you know he's telling me how to pamper rubies even though he has no idea. Didn't you know he's just the best? So smart. Yep, the potato email. All right, y'all, take care. It has been a long one. Thank y'all for hanging out with me and sticking with me. Abraham said, try doing some exercises, sir. Perhaps some push-ups. Exactly. So damn lazy, right? All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out this almost 4 hours that we have been together today. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. We will be back tomorrow, as far as I know, and we will continue and we will talk about the potato email. If nobody has told you, you are important, you are enough, you are special, and you are loved. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Stay safe. Bye.